Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I gotta tell you guys, we are here for a Christmas key party with our friends. We've got Ryan.
I didn't sign up for the key party.
You did when you agreed to be on this podcast. We have Ty.
Also not signed up for the key party.
That's unfortunate. And Renee.
I'm here, and I didn't know it was a key party, but I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. I'm glad that we're all mostly consenting adults here to speak about the new movie, which we don't do very often because
we don't do this often, no.
I'll categorize anything as a holiday film as long as there's a tree in it. The 2023 black comedy psychological thriller Saltburn, which the director Emerald Fennell calls a gothic romance.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I like it. This has a lot of people in it. So we've got Barry Keoghan, Jacob Elordi, Rosamund Pike, Richard E. Grant, Allison Oliver, Archie Madekwe. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Sure.
Carey Mulligan also. And
I'm glad I didn't say it, yeah.
And directed by Emerald Fennell. We all went and saw this today together. And
we did. You guys had seen it before, though. I hadn't seen it before.
We saw it 1 week ago.
Yeah,
was it really just a week ago?
Yeah, it was really a week ago.
It's been too long since I've seen it.
So yeah,
I watch it every day.
We all went to go see it, and we all brought our notepads, and we all tried to write notes in the dark.
Because you can't take notes on your cell phone in the movie theater, because then that will be mean.
They all look like the notes from John Doe's notebooks in Seven.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We will take photos and post them. At least a shot of each of our notebooks that look insane.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
There's one commonality, though, and they all say Harry Potter on them, and I'm not too sure if John Doe had that in any of his notebooks.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
They would maybe... I'd have to check the dates on that, if they were even out yet, or one was out yet.
Oh, yeah.
In 2006?
In 2006?
I would have thought so, yeah.
Wait.
Or 2007. It would have been 2007.
I'm talking about the books.
The Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
If they were out in 2007.
No. Wait. The movie you're talking about, Seven, was like 1998.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think the first Harry Potter was like 97 or 98. Like, I'm curious. We're through the looking glass on this shit. This does not matter. I was just curious.
I don't even know what we're talking about
anymore. It wouldn't have been even plural books, I think. Anyway,
if
that's
the character in Seven would have written about Harry Potter in his notes.
Because the first book, I think, came out in 96 or 97. I'm pretty sure it's 97.
We also believed in the
Lord.
Lord.
The cell phones are, like,
so he was also into some wacky shit. I mean, to be honest, me going and saying that Harry Potter might be in John Doe's book...
I love this. This is a cinematic universe.
...is not a gigantic stretch, seeing as he did murder... he murdered 6 people in that movie. Spoiler alert.
Laura, what do you got?
How Potter and the Philosopher's Stone came out on June 26th, 1997.
Still got it, baby.
Yeah, but seven came out
96.
It's like 94.
95.
Yeah, it's like
95.
94,
That's what I'm saying.
95.
I think there's at least a solid year.
So we're bringing this all back to our notebooks. And that's,
7 came out in 95.
He has a notebook in that movie?
So wait, when is the second Harry Potter book out? I think it was only like 2 years later. It could have been 97.
I mean, I guess.
Say it. Does there
when did the second one come out?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I would guess it's 97.
I don't understand what's
maybe.
Well, the first one came out in 97. So the second one came out in 98. And then 99.
Oh, right. You're sorry. Yeah.
And then 2000.
banging them out.
So...
And then 2003.
From over-explaining that joke slightly...
sorry,
I'm going to tell everyone the synopsis of this film from Letterboxd.
Okay.
Struggling to find his place at Oxford University, student Oliver Quick finds himself drawn into the world of the charming and aristocratic Felix Catton, who invites him to Saltburn, his eccentric family's sprawling estate, for a summer never to be forgotten. And
Lovely.
The tagline is, "We're all about to lose our minds."
Because it's a full moon.
That's right.
It's about to be a full moon.
That's right. And I never read that. I try not to watch trailers in general anymore. Because it's upsetting. They really need to sort that out about how much they show in the trailers. But
yeah, no one needs to go see Aquaman 2 if you've seen the trailer for the movie.
Unless you love Nicole Kidman.
Some of us do.
Yeah. There was a real quick shot of what's her face?
Amber Heard.
Yeah, there's a real quick shot of her.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't care about their dispute. But
Well, that's his last outing as Aquaman anyway. Like they're doing it over again.
they really.
Yeah, that's his last outing. I think they're not keeping with the Momoa. So
He's the only thing that makes those movies make sense and watchable.
well, Warner Brothers doesn't want it supposedly. So
Well, none of us want any of the DC movies. So how about that?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway,
That being said, I still watch
Emerald.
them. Yeah, Emerald.
yeah, let's just get on with it. So Emerald Fennell, she's an actress, filmmaker, writer. You might have seen her an actress in films like Albert Nobbs from 2011, Anna Karenina from 2012, and obviously The Danish Girl from 2015. She's also in Barbie as well. You might have recognized her from that. She plays Midge.
Yeah, she plays the pregnant Barbie.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Barbie.
Which should not be surprising because Margot Robbie produced this movie. She was one of the producers.
Yes.
Not to jump ahead.
Well, Margot also produced Barbie as
Yes,
well.
correct.
But in terms of Emerald, she was also a showrunner for the season 2 of Killing Eve in 2019. She also wrote 2 episodes of Drifters from 2016. In terms of her films, she's only made 2. So one of them was Promising Young Woman from 2020, which was her debut.
Amazing.
Won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay and was also nominated for Best Picture and Best Director. Before then, she had a short film called Careful How You Go from 2018. And she also wrote a book for Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Cinderella. I don't know why that was important. It was just there, but she has subsequent credits for writing books about particular musicals.
That's
of
cool.
the Andrew Lloyd Webber kind. I have no idea what they are.
Yeah, she became friends with Phoebe Waller-Bridge during Albert Nobbs. And I think Phoebe is in her short film that you mentioned before.
It's definitely who you know.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
definitely
I'm glad
who
they
you
know each other because they're adorable and I like them.
Yes. But that covers that.
Oh, you're done?
Yeah, no, there's not much else. I'm trying to keep these sections relatively quite brief because they're nothing but facts. There's no hilarity in the facts. So
I think it's funny that Emerald was saying that American audiences might not get it. Like, it's doing well, I think, here. I mean, the fact that it's playing, I think we're lucky to have the theater nearby that we have because we do get more of the independent films that a lot of places don't get. Like, I told my mother to go watch this because she goes, oh, I don't have anything to do today. I go, you got to go see Saltburn. And it's not playing anywhere near her at all. So I do feel like we're lucky to be able to have this, and that's playing consistently. So I was a little bit worried we were going to miss it, but we didn't.
no.
But Emerald was saying that she thinks that British audiences might get it more that the fact that it's a comedy. Like, you get a lot more laughs maybe out of that audience than you do in America, because I think a lot of people reviewing it in America go, it's sick. She's sick. The movie's sick.
When we saw it today for the second time, I noticed how few people were laughing. But when we saw it the first time, I think the theater was much more into the comedy.
Yeah.
There were points today where I was the only person laughing at it.
Yeah.
I was
thought
like,
people
what?
laughed more this
Oh,
time.
interesting.
I thought people laughed more this time.
There's definitely people in there that don't get that it's funny.
Yeah.
But
I'm like, huh?
Here's what the
Yeah.
laughter sounds like. It doesn't sound like, oh, that's hilarious. It sounds like I'm uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, yeah. I
I'm
think
very
that is-
uncomfortable.
I think that's what it's trying to elicit, but on the funnier side of discomfort. Like,
There's some stuff that's, I mean, that movie
but there's some
is...
out and out jokes.
Yeah,
Like,
very
there are some
funny.
stuff that you could be like, oh, that's just like a little uncomfortable, but they're out and out like gags.
Yeah. She had said, maybe I'm being facetious, but I don't think there's anything in this film that's sick, especially when I've been used to seeing women's bodies treated abominably in film and television. And I'm like, yeah, because there's no boobs. No boobs in this film. Think back.
Yeah, you're
No, there's not. There's not.
There's just an appreciation. I mean, everyone in this movie is beautiful.
Like, what does she mean by abominably?
Women's bodies treated abominably?
Yeah, like, what sort of examples would she cite as that, though?
I can't speak for her.
Because abominably is a very strong term.
I mean, you could even think back to maybe Sharon Stone, Basic Instinct type of things, where
Right.
she wasn't told that there was going to be a vag shot, and then it's in the film.
I mean, I guess.
Things like that, maybe like not
Okay.
consensual things. I mean, women don't typically also get doubles or prosthetics, things like that either. So you're kind of always just laid out, and you don't
Okay.
have that choice. I'm not saying that that's abominable necessarily, but if you're asking me just off the
Yeah.
top of my head, I'm like,
No.
well,
I mean, if I ever hear the word abominable, I'm just thinking about the snowman. I don't know what it is. It's such a weird, like, the abominable snowman. Yeah. So I'm like, what does she mean by that? It doesn't make any sense to me. A little bit. Like, there's a lot of other words, but yeah.
Thanks for bringing it back to Christmas time.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying my best here. Yeah, I'm trying my best here.
I know, Ty, you had in your notes because I was going to bring up the fact that of like where this house actually was, but you had it in your notes. So why don't you tell us about it? Because I know that it was built in around the 1300s, and what I had in my notes is that the cast and crew had a lot of freedom that you wouldn't normally have in like a stately home, to where they could paint the walls and rearrange the furniture, and they could stay there.
Yep.
And they could kind of live in it, and because they wanted the house to be comfortable for them, I guess, and lived in, and they wanted the grounds to be used, they wanted the inside to be used.
Yeah. It's set in England, right?
Yes.
It's definitely set in England. I mean, England's littered with that stuff, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I lost the note, but it was just a website, and I think I closed it. But it was, like, Emerald was very specific. She didn't want a house that had been used in film before. She wanted it to feel totally new and fresh. And I guess whatever deal they struck, to your point, like, the cast said that it seemed daunting at first, but, like, it was basically like summer camp. She wanted everyone to go to one location and just do most of the film together versus, like, stringing together, like, exteriors and interiors and stages. Like, she wanted everyone to kind of just, like, go and be there. So, like, I don't think everyone lived there, but I know Rosamund Pike lived there. She said that she, like, lived in the house. I think people stayed nearby, because obviously you can't house everybody, but, like, some of the people literally lived in the manor while they were doing it.
I have that it's Drayton House in Northamptonshire.
Yes.
Okay.
There it is.
There you go.
I love any house that's big enough to have to call the rooms by the color.
Yeah, and
they
also
probably are.
Oh,
yeah.
There's this progression where you're like, oh, wow, a swimming pond. Oh, no, there's also a pool.
Also a pool.
You get your choice.
And I know that a lot of people have compared it and drawn kind of lines towards Talented Mr. Ripley and Call Me By Your Name. And I have zero problem with that whatsoever, because I love both of those films. And this gave me hard, especially during that, the pond, reading books by the water, reading naked in the field. And I'm like, this is giving me hard Call Me By Your Name vibes. And
it kind of starts like that, and then it reminded me a lot more of Stoker.
Oh,
yeah. It sort of twists and moves in a direction.
Yeah, where they kind of fucked up family in that one as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think the family's all that fucked up. I think they're cute. Rosamund Pike.
It's because you love Richard E. Grant.
I love Richard E. Grant.
Yeah.
I love them both.
He is the most grounded of the family in some ways.
His face, his eyes, so bright, so charming.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
It kind of felt like his brain had just been eaten away through either irritation or just like is a level of frustration.
Trauma?
He just broke him. Yeah, just broke him.
Yeah.
Like,
I also love weirdly the moments of, I'm getting ahead, the moments of family connection where I was just like watching dumb 2000s comedies and laughing.
But those were new to them.
I know,
remember?
that's the point, but they're like all crammed into that little TV room. And if you look, Richard E. Grant has like a spoonful of Nutella he's eating near one of them. And I think that's so adorable. It's so cute. Like the old English dad with a spoonful of Nutella. And like everybody has like a different snack. It just looks so cozy.
Even though like snack.
People are unraveling at that point, but it looked very nice anyway.
No, I agree. And also, Carey Mulligan was drinking a Red Bull and ashing her cigarette into the Red Bull can.
Poor Pamela. By the way, I heard in the script her name is Poor Dear Pamela. I don't know if that's true, but it's her like character's
full name,
given name.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is in Letterboxd.
So it probably is in the script. Usually they pull that right from the script, but I would love that if she was Poor Dear Pamela, like on the page.
Wonderful. My first note is I loved him, but was I in love with him? Really thought this was going to be real gay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not disappointed.
It's a very bisexual film. It's not gay enough.
It's very fluid.
Yeah, it's very pan, I guess. Or,
yeah.
I don't know. Is there an attraction that's based on being calculating and mean? That's what it would be.
I mean, there's people out there who get sexually attracted to people who have like life-ending diseases.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh.
So there is that.
Well, that doesn't apply.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't. What are we talking about? I just thought we.
You know what's funny?
Saltburn?
the confession level aspect of it, where like you forget that he's sort of narrating this. It comes back to him like maybe only twice before the end, but like I didn't really realize till this time. I'm like, oh, we don't know who he's talking to. Like he's kind of talking to us.
Yeah.
Like you assume when you see those little clips, you assume he's going to be like in an interview or a deposition or something in the final scene. But no, it just cuts to him being in the room and pulling her like intubation tube. So like he's kind of talking to himself and or us.
Yeah.
Very briefly. I don't know. I thought that like fourth wall thing was like even creepier once I realized it on the second view.
It's very creepy.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you think he is talking to her?
I guess he could be talking to
I
her.
think he was
her,
for a
yeah.
bit. I think he. Oh,
There's
maybe you're right. He was
maybe
talking
he
to her
is.
for a bit.
You're
Yeah.
right. I thought there were certain ways he phrased things that made me think he was speaking to a third viewer directly. But you're right. It could have been her. The next time I see it, I
think he was talking to her. He was
That
wearing the
makes the
same
most
clothes.
sense.
Yeah, he was talking to her. But she's in a position where she can neither explain nor
Yes, very
nor
true.
like retaliate from what he's saying to
Very
her.
true,
So it's
right.
also incredibly cruel in that respect.
By the way, what do you think he did to get her there?
Yeah.
'Cause
I
they
don't
just jumped to
know.
her being very ill, and he only says months. He goes, "These months have been the happiest." It's only been months.
Slow
Yeah.
poisoning.
Do you think they got married, or do you think she just signed over the house to him? We're all over the place. I don't.
I know.
Yeah,
wanna-
we're
everyone
kind of at
can
the
deal
end.
with
We're
it.
kind
I
of
don't
at
mind.
the end.
I don't
we
mind.
are.
It's
We are.
okay.
But yeah,
it's
it's fine. This movie's a little all over the place like that. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like she just maybe signed it over.
I think she maybe signed it over to him. I love that shot where like she's signing it and like creepy butler is over and he's peeking through the sliver of light.
Yeah.
All right, we did jump around. Sorry, go back.
So 4-3, we're at private school, and
Start with
this
that
is
aspect
where I guess this is
ratio.
where this is where it goes. I didn't realize that it was going to be in 4-3. So it was.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, there's something about something being in 4-3 which means like almost as a prerequisite that it has to be symmetrical.
Yeah,
Because it's the same with most of the shots in First Reformed as well. It ends up
right.
being a symmetry to everything's in the middle because it's 4-3. So that's probably my only knock against the movie is that everything is symmetrical just because it's 4-3. But that's really about as much as I can give it. Really.
It's so beautiful too, I think, because also I didn't realize till afterwards it's film. It's like legitimate film 4:3, so they're not masking or anything. They're shooting film like 4:35, like, and then just taking the full thing. They're not cropping it or anything. So
Ooh,
yeah,
like the olden days.
yes, exactly.
Oh, I see.
And I have to say, like, just to talk overall about the film, like, the cinematography is amazing. It's
Yeah.
so natural. Everything feels like motivated by a practical or something like that. But then it takes these seemingly random, like, moments where it goes, like, very, like, painterly and abstract. You know what I mean? Like, there's that one earlier where you see, like, the 3 images of him, like, turning. Like, it's one of the first, like, 5 shots of the film. And then, like,
right,
that's-
when he's staring at the window.
Yes, and then
yeah.
that whole scene where him and the mom are talking at sunset, and she's in the purple dress, and it's just like it's like purple no matter what coverage they cut. So it's purple in the background, but then they're clearly like being lit in like an old Hollywood kind of style. You know what I mean? And it's just like abstract but very beautiful. And they just do that every now and then. But so much stuff is just like coming through a window. I mean, this is like Barry Lyndon level stuff where they're just like. It seems like there's very few things lighting them other than whatever lights in the room. People go into darkness all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's even that shot of him, and I don't remember at which point it is in the movie, but where Oliver's like in his bedroom alone at Saltburn, and the light kind of coming through the window is lighting him in that really, really nice kind of like orange, like that sunset type of light. I think it's, right before they go to dinner or something.
Yeah,
and I'm like, man.
They use those windows as like kind of art department set dressing too. Like when he goes to see the tutor in the beginning, there's one that's pulled up and tucked. And then the ones at Saltburn are always very orderly and pulled off until someone dies. And then there are the red curtains in the lunch and they make a big deal about it. But there are times when the shot is 2 people and then just like windows and like window dressing in the background, like for long periods.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just think it's really interesting how they like just embraced that.
I know when I saw it for the first time, I was not sure about when this movie was set because you have that kind of the music in the beginning, setting it off, and he's walking through Oxford, and so you have kind of a tone and a setting. And I'm like, when the hell is this?
Yeah, anything
set?
in Oxford feels old-timey.
Of course.
Yeah, so you're like, how old-timey is this? And then you see like the welcome signs, right?
Yep, it's 2006, right?
Well, you see a written reference to 2006.
There's
though.
a banner. He kind of walks through into the courtyard, and there's a banner behind it. I go, oh,
Yeah.
And then you only see one cell phone that I remember, but it's a full candy bar style like cell phone. When he says he'll text Oliver, and you see him looking at his phone. It's the only one I see, and it is like straight up a Nokia from like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the generation after the thick boys.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But I have a dumb question because you see those banners, and then after the movie, I was thinking, like, did it say like "Welcome, Class of 2006," or just say "Welcome"? It's 2006. Like I started questioning because I'm like, don't you call it Class of 2006
And
when
then
they're
it would
graduating?
right, when they're graduating.
Did they not do that in England or Oxford?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost
specifically?
sacrilegious to incite the fact that Oxford would make any sort of grammatical error with its banners.
Well,
it's not grammatical, but it's more like,
Is there a cultural difference?
Because you would be
I
the
don't think
class. Because
so.
are they starting? They're starting at Oxford, right? Because this year one.
Yeah,
you know?
it
Are
definitely
they,
felt
like,
like year one.
freshmen?
Yeah.
Don't usually use like class of, but in the UK, really.
Okay, so I think that's the difference because I started being like,
Yeah.
so was it
Welcome
2002?
students of, that's true, right?
Yeah, but it
Welcome
wasn't.
students of the year 2006.
And then I like, I really it like the whole thing to me becomes a period piece because I'm just like it's so nostalgic for people our age, like the juicy sweatpants and the music,
Juicy
God,
couture.
yeah, juicy couture.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many little bits, the movies they watch, everything. And it's just like it's
When
charmingly set in that time.
That's very true. Because this is when we all would. I mean, I went to school a lot later than most people did, but this would have been college years.
I was in university the same time this film is set when they're in university.
How did you feel?
I don't know. Maybe it feels like that. The 2000s is a funny time.
It's a weird time to pin down as like a style.
It is something I would also say the 2000s is incredibly unstylish. It has this kind of trash feel about it, where it doesn't know what the fuck it is.
Exactly. Maybe that's why it helps
Potentially.
everyone just having different styles. Farrelly's the most stylish person.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
the whole
if you're ever confused as to when this film is set, I mean, you just listen to the soundtrack. It's basically all songs I was never interested in listening to myself, but you heard just out there in the ether from places that you went to. So
I will say it was decidedly like British. Like,
oh yeah,
yes,
decidedly British. Like,
yes.
I would say I was only vaguely familiar with like some of them, and like I would call myself someone that watches a higher than average like Americans amount of like British things. You know what I mean? Like nowhere near as other people, but like if I said anything was going to alienate the Americans, it would be like the very average American who's going to not know any of the songs.
except Mr. Brightside. That's only in it for maybe.
Is even in it? Because they're just singing
They're
it.
singing
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking, I was
was
like,
like,
would this be on the soundtrack? Because you never actually hear the real song. You just hear them singing it loudly.
Probably not is the answer.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very British. I would say it's very English. That's what I'll say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
very
yes.
English. Yeah, I don't know.
it
We're
is
kind of
Oxford.
yeah.
I love. So the first person that has a line in the movie is Farrelly, who we meet a little bit later. But he has the first line, and that's what I wrote. Oh, okay, just wait, guys, till you see our notes. It's a fuck fest.
So no, you
I like your
comments
shirt.
Yeah, he says nice coat, didn't he? Or say nice shirt,
Nice jacket.
nice
Oh
jacket.
shit! See, I wrote it down, and I wrote something on top of it.
Something like nice jacket.
It's a reference to Oliver's clothing,
He
which
has-
is
he's-
obviously a joke because he's wearing
A dumbass
the
jacket.
Oxford
Yeah.
tie or like in an Oxford sweater coat thing, like a Letterman's jacket type of thing. It's embarrassing.
He looks a little bit like a briefcase wanker. Yeah, that's what he kind of looks like. Yeah, it's kind of like the opening to the In-Betweener series. That's what it felt like to me.
He is that guy from the In-Betweeners.
Yeah, he's Will
He's
from-
Will from the In-Betweeners.
Yeah.
Oh my god, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I thought he looked very nice.
Yeah. Also, the girl. He did.
Snazzy.
You're not wrong. He did.
He
did
was
look
dressed well.
He was
Yeah.
dressed.
He was
quite-
ready
He
for
just
his
wasn't-
first day at Hogwarts.
nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he dressed in the clothing they got. He read the entire summer reading list.
Oh my gosh, 50 books.
And-
real fast, the girl who he ultimately makes out with and insults, She says something like he shops at Oxfam. Is that a brand I don't know? Like Oxford
it's
Family?
Like a thrift.
It's a charity shop.
Yeah. So the joke translated. I was like, yeah, I get it. She's clearly making fun of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So
Yeah.
just
It was-
filling it in for anybody else who
Yeah,
didn't get that.
yeah. Going back to that scene where he read all 50 books,
Oh
and
my
he's like,
God.
"Oh, what? So you even read the King James Bible like that? The entirety of that
Died.
book? That moment's really funny, but we were the only ones that really laughed.
Oh my
I was
God.
cracking up.
It's so good. The like persona of that tutor and the way it changes once he goes through his like weird, creepy stalker story. But his like blasé, like everything, like whole persona is so great. It reminded me kind of weirdly, there's something about Mary. Richard Jenkins plays the psychologist in the beginning,
Oh, right.
and he like sneaks in the room. He's like, it's such a good bit in that movie, but the same thing where he just does not care. Like he truly doesn't give a shit about helping this other person.
Do not tell your mom that I know. Do not say I mentioned her.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
Admire
That,
from
that-
afar.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that moment where they were kind of like, there's people doubting Oliver at every turn, though, I would say, because when they say like, oh, you know, it's like he he got his scholarship, he got his trust fund or whatever it was, but he shops at Oxfam. I just immediately was just like, well, it's because he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like that's effectively what he's trying to be.
Because he could afford nicer clothes. He could dress
yes,
like
it's not
the people around him. Like he's almost at the level of the people around him. Obviously, he's not
Yeah.
a lord, and he doesn't have like a stately home. But
His home was not. His parents clearly cared,
That's
even
a
though he's on a
nice
scholarship.
house.
Like he wasn't poor.
That's
No.
it's a nice suburban bungalow, like a nice suburban neighborhood where he is. Like where he comes from it's actually very nice.
I have a question
up
about
around
that
there.
later, but keep going.
But no, I was gonna say, I didn't really believe him in all of the things he was saying from the off. Like I felt there was something about him that I just didn't really get. And that was from like speaking to you, Laura, that you were like, well, no,
that blew my mind.
I was in the entire time. I was like, I'm not sure he's telling the truth because he's telling the most warped and most exaggerated version of I came from a troubled home story. Like that's not the version of that story that you tell.
I noticed in the theater when he was saying,
where
"Oh,
you're
the filth
putting
of
the-
it!
yeah.
I can never go back there. It's so disgusting." And he's just really, really laying it on. And you just started
It's too
writing
thick.
notes.
Yeah, it's
and I
way
was
too
like,
thick.
"Oh no," because I believed him 1000%.
I did too.
I
'Cause
was,
I was
so
like,
in.
this is why he acts so disturbed.
Yeah, he's
because
fucked
he
up.
acts weird and disturbed because he had this fucked up childhood.
Yeah.
I've totally bought it too. But now that Ryan says that, it was extreme. I don't think that's how someone who lived the experience would have described it.
I mean, the idea of, oh no, my mother might die in her sleep. I have to make her vomit before she goes to bed. Like that sort of thing.
The movie, I caught it the second time. The movie purposely misleads you, red herrings, because the scene before he goes and tells him that his father's passed away, he does get a call from his mother.
Yeah.
So
So
the movie-
what's that call about?
We
Yeah,
never
that's-
know.
we never know, but
No,
that's
she's
the
just
movie
saying,
is like
hi, son.
pure red
How's
herring.
school?
Yeah, that's
Probably.
that
Yeah.
is pure misdirection on
It's
the
just
movie's
like
part.
he got the idea of being on the phone. Oh, I could.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's little pieces where it's interesting to think he tells the story as if I had this all planned.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my plan all along. And I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I do believe that he really just wanted to be friends with this guy. And then once it turned,
Yeah.
Oh,
he
yeah.
goes, I have to figure something out.
Yeah, like I believe that we're seeing the narrative that now exists in his head
Right.
as the owner. Like he everything has been sort of retconned to like fit the narrative of his life. We're like,
Yeah,
oh
his
yeah, I did that 'cause of
motivation
this.
changed,
I
but
did that for this.
he was being sneaky all along.
Correct.
But his
Yeah, yeah,
motivation changed
yeah, his ultimate
from love to
ambitions.
hate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever really loved him. That's my
Was it
thing.
like envy or?
Yeah, just like can't fucking stand you. Yeah,
Bathtub.
yeah, he does. He licks the plug hole in the bathtub.
It's like the hottest shit ever. I'm so serious.
Supping
There are
up.
so many parts of this
disturbing.
movie that should not be hot. And then I watched it again today and I was like, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Woo!
Lordy, lordy.
I don't get it. It doesn't give it to me for the bathtub licking this up. Like I'm just full on like creeped out by it. I think it's also because they're all still wet from like washing themselves up, but they just look sweaty to me. And I don't know. I mean, the bathtub masturbation scene almost had me, but not
Pretty
the,
good,
not
pretty
the
good.
drain.
The slurp. The slurp.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Love
thing.
the
Like,
slurp.
he's masturbating in the bath, and then it's just a big semen cloud just kind of permeating in the bath.
Well,
water.
most of it's just soap, which is gross.
I'm sure it is, but then it's just
Yeah.
like they're floating on the top of the water while you're still having a bath. You know?
I'm sure he drained it right after.
I hope so. I hope we got.
I really
straight
was.
out
That's another thing
afterwards.
where I was 1,000% expecting him, like that show You, where that dude's like outside the girl's house and he's just jerking off, just watching her like live her. Oh no, she was masturbating as well.
Yeah,
Anyway,
she was masturbating.
so I was expecting that from this film, and
Just in case you weren't aware, she was masturbating.
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone
No.
was masturbating.
But to your note, in this movie, my favorite shot probably is that shot of him out in like the garden watching him make out with that girl, and he's
With
like
the
smoking a
cigarette?
cigarette, and there's just this like unmotivated moonlight on him, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's so creepy, but so beautiful at the same time.
I
It's my
agree.
favorite shot in the movie.
I like that they showed that a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could watch that again.
Yeah, the opening of the movie, not to kind of jump around too much, obviously,
Well,
but yeah, they
Good luck.
they show key shots over the
Yes.
course of the story at the very beginning while they the voiceover monologue is happening before the main title comes up.
It's so funny because I know this is. I don't even know why I'm worried about saying spoilers, but even though the beginning, I loved him, but was I in love with him? And it was all this past tense, and I still just didn't quite compute what was going to happen to him. I just really just dove in,
Yeah.
Did you think what was going to happen
Would
gonna
end
happen?
in death?
Yeah.
No, I didn't think so, because you can still love someone past tense, and they could be alive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was something that I didn't think was going to happen, but it did.
And then
So-
he said he didn't have to tell us what happened.
Yeah, he didn't have to.
We already know.
We already
Yeah.
know. Well, yeah, by then. Did you ever feel bad at all for his friend, like his first friend at school, Norman No Mates?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did the first time around. The second time, I noticed something that made me absolutely hate this character. He brings him that candy bar, and then he immediately eats it. Watch what he does in the background. He unwraps the whole candy bar, and then start eating it from the fucking middle.
He did eat it from the middle.
He eats it from the middle. That is a psychopath move.
It was really
He
upsetting.
He made a smart choice to distance himself from that perfect weirdo.
Yeah.
That man would have killed him and eaten him
Yeah.
from the middle.
Yeah,
Also-
he was eating a crunchy sidebar, which
Yeah.
is something that you don't do with a crunchy.
You don't,
you don't
eat
do it
any
with a
bar
candy.
from the side.
No.
It's shaped like a bar for a reason.
Yeah. He's he was well, I just thought he was a little bit psychopathic. But he's got no friends because there's a couple of outbursts he did. One of my favorites was when he's like fucking ask me a sum so he can
Yeah.
like do a sum because he loves these multiplications and stuff so much.
But it's like, who else would know the answer to that? If you're so
Exactly.
good at math or maths, you wouldn't. If you ask me to multiply something, I'm not going to know the answer.
Well, he wanted the challenge. He wanted them to give him the thing. There's a weird tone to the film. Like I'm just kind of trying to we'll just put it out there. There's a weird tone to the film that that kind of permeates the whole thing. It's very hyper realistic. Like there's something weird about it. There's an undercurrent that's quite disturbing under the whole thing. And it's very, very particular. It's kind of like how someone might see a Crazy Family in England. Like that kind of idea.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's very weird and uncomfortable, and it's hilarious. That part is so funny. Because also, I've never seen a scene other than in a Harry Potter film where everyone at university is eating a meal at long tables.
Yeah, is that real? I need to know.
Well, this is like old Ivy League. You know
I
what
went
mean?
I
Fair.
don't want to boast over here, but, I went to a pretty good school in Scotland, and there was no such thing.
So yeah, it might be just pure fancy, and it also might be with something
It's also
like
a master's
Oxford.
program, so it might have been more like that if you had like your undergrad.
But
Yeah.
And everyone's-
Oxford might be so like stuck in
Oxford or
tradition.
Cambridge. You went to University of Edinburgh, which is a
Well, you go to
relatively common university.
No, you go to University
Anyone
of
can go
Edinburgh if
there.
you can't get into those schools. That's who goes to Edinburgh. Damn. Like me.
Wow, look at that.
That's what I heard. People talk.
You're incredibly smart. Is that what you're trying to say? Yes.
Not as smart, but yeah. I'm not going to destroy a whole family and
Okay.
steal a castle. but I can get around.
So who was
yeah.
more successful, him or his weird eating things from the little friend? Because that guy probably went on to be successful.
That's what I'm saying. I don't feel bad for him.
He probably became an accountant or something.
No, he's
Oh, no.
top.
That dude-
He's a top 1%er by now.
Top 1%, yeah,
He
for
probably
sure, yeah.
invented some kind of software.
100%.
Yeah.
That dude could buy that.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's like
Creates-
a Goodwill Hunting.
Well, no, he creates probably a whites-only social media site. Yeah, that's probably all that he's doing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's probably a fascist.
Shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
We all got very
Wouldn't be
different
surprised.
vibes from Michael.
When he goes, I'm going for a slash, get me another pint, will ya? And he doesn't get him a pint. And he goes, I don't even know that guy, which is so obvious that he does. It made me a little
Yeah.
sad.
Oh, yeah, it hurts.
Because I feel like we've all maybe had that friend, or even potentially been that friend. I've been that friend and I've done that to people. When you're a shitty person sometimes,
Wow.
where you're like,
Well, that's...
I found someone cooler. And I've had friends that go, oh, I found someone cooler. And so you're kind of left out of that situation.
Sorry, Ryan, you just got a peek in the future, my
Well,
guy.
he was NFI. Will I be NFI in the future? Is that what you're saying?
No, you're already in. You're
I'm already in. Okay.
That
I
letter is
see.
in that pigeonhole. You are in. You got the invitation.
Yeah, I say good luck to Laura trying to do that in the future, though, because I will make a fucking stink out of it. It will not be fun.
You gonna Gone Girl me?
Who knows? Who knows? Who's the craziest person in this room? Probably me. So
That's a
yeah,
good question.
Well, this took a turn.
yeah. Well, who is the craziest person in this room?
But like, what are like?
Yeah,
the,
what's the criteria?
Yeah.
Like, would
Most likely to finish the sentence.
Well, I don't know. There's the dark horse, the stranger. I'd say that would be the Tighe.
Stranger
Tighe's
danger.
Yeah, he's probably got something underlying in there that he's just.
Ty's got
get
stranger
out.
danger.
Yeah, let's say he's got a
I was
kinda
about
dark
to-
horse nature about him.
I was about to say we should stop this because there will be no good conversation after this point, and I should have said it because I stand by that. Feelings are getting hurt, y'all.
I feel like
No.
Laura might do the craziest thing to like get back at someone.
I can
Like,
believe
you
that.
know, who's wronged her.
Carolina's not in the room, but there is a revenge vibe to Laura.
It would be really slow.
Yeah.
I mean, people have told me that if you see the four whites of someone's eyes, you know that they're trouble. And I've heard that people can see that a lot from me
Okay.
because of my
weird.
eyes. So
Otherwise known as I will cut you.
can you see the four whites of my eyes?
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Can I see the what of your
The
eyes?
four whites of your eyes.
All whites.
All top, bottom, on the side.
Oh, but you've got massive eyes though. Like that's
Beautiful
the difference.
eyes,
Yeah,
yeah.
she has massive
Yeah,
fucking
they are
eyes.
like anime eyes.
Yeah.
Aw,
They pop out of your fucking head. They're huge.
thanks.
Yeah, I've never heard full
Yeah.
whites, but yeah.
No?
So if you see
Never
the
heard
full
that.
whites,
I mean,
I
full
thought
whites
the,
is their eyes.
like,
or is
the
it full
bottom
white
ones.
or might be four? I
Look,
don't
it's
know.
either you've got giant eyes or your eyelids are way too small. So I don't know.
Right, it is-
Sorry.
I'm perfectly proportioned, and I will Gone Girl everyone in this room.
Okay,
Be careful.
that's fine. I'd love to see it. If I wasn't the first one to get Gone Girled, then I would love to see who the first one is and how it goes. That
I'd
would
have to
be-
see what. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry
How
about
can
it.
you kill yourself 4 times and then we all go down for the same murder?
It'd be like a group Gone Girling.
right. Okay.
Group gone.
A group.
A group
gone.
ganja.
Group ganja.
Group Gone Girl.
I want to go back to
Right.
Oxford.
Yes.
When they got out of their exams,
NFI, not fucking invite. I was gonna say not fucking
NFO.
interested, but yeah.
Not fucking Oxford.
I am VFI about what Renee's going to say about
Partying.
their exams.
No, don't be too interested. I was wondering when they got out of their exams, it was like party time, and everyone was like,
So
was that
cute.
something Felix arranged just to cheer up Ollie, or was that just that's how they end exams?
And like
Right.
some of them were like putting like the things on them, and some of them were receiving them. So there was like 2 waves of it. I didn't
was-
understand. Maybe it's like a British or an Ivy
Well,
League
what,
thing. I
what
don't
if
understand.
you didn't have a very good test? Like,
Yeah.
I would find
Yeah.
that to be incredibly out of place. I
Right?
would be
You would
very
know.
I
You,
would
you
be
have
like,
a
no.
feeling of how
Yeah.
you did,
Yeah.
but either way,
Every-
it's done.
yeah.
So I even celebrate when I thought I had a bad run of an exam because I'm like, well, it's over now, and
over.
there's nothing I can
Well,
do to
listen-
stress about it or whatever.
Do they do real tests at Oxford though? I mean, to be fair, didn't their
like,
didn't
what
their
would that
parents just
be?
write a check
Remember
and they just
Scantrons?
sign it off and then
Yeah, I
that's them
remember
pass their
Scantrons.
exams? You know.
Yeah, did they do a Scantron for their exams?
Yeah, is that what they just
Oxford,
do?
probably not.
You know, and you
Their
just slide it
hand.
in. That's why you know if you did good or not.
Yeah, they got a chip and pin, and they just kind of chip
Put it
and pin
into the
their
voting
education in.
machine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Slide it in his sleeve.
Yeah.
We'll let you know your result in 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Carry on.
When was the first time they said the titular line or said Saltburn?
I think when he gets invited to
When
it.
he gets
Yeah.
invited.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then they can't stop saying it.
Yeah.
Saltburn this, Saltburn,
Saltburn
that.
that. It's a good name. It's a good name. I'm trying to think of when the vomit in the sink happened because I love it.
It was
After
straight
the-
after he meets him in the pub, and they're doing the rounds, and then what's his
Oh,
name?
no.
It's the
It's
time
when
he wasn't invited.
It's when
It's
yeah.
after he makes out with that girl.
Yeah. It's because Felix gets annoyed at Oliver because Oliver's like, you never clean up. Rich people never have to clean up. You're disgusting.
Right,
and he
got
kind
you.
of like soft breaks up with him. And then that's when Oliver goes back to his dorm and that girl that was hanging out with Felix is there and she tries to do a revenge poke.
Yeah, and they got that 70 CL of vodka that they're just swigging.
God, I
do.
was wondering what kind of fluid that was.
I've never done that.
And me either. But that.
Oh, I
cuts-
have.
That
And
then
it was
cuts too.
Canadian whiskey. And I did a full Saltburn barf on the sink for that
Jesus.
one.
It's the only end
so
for that.
You've barfed in a sink. I don't think I've ever barfed in a sink. I barfed in
Okay,
a
to-
bathtub once.
To be fair, it wasn't. It was on the floor. The gentleman I was seeing at the time put my trash can right next to my bed. Like put me in bed. I was living with my parents. He put the trash can next to my bed for me to barf in, but it was one that you had to put the lid on.
No.
So it was like a step trash can.
Yeah.
So I woke up with vomit all over the top of the trash can.
Pedal bins are probably not the best idea to have at the side of your bed while you're trying to sleep.
He did his
Functional-
best. He did his
Yeah,
best.
yeah,
But
you
yeah,
take the
full
top
on.
off
You
it.
guys go to
The
the
least
kitchen and get a
functional point.
pot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
but
I
my
used to
mom
do.
was there with her arms crossed going, what is happening? And I'm just hammed.
We're gonna go
18
cook
years
something
old.
up in the kitchen. I mean,
Oh, he
bedroom.
couldn't even get me into the kitchen. I was blasted. I was done so.
Oh, man.
Canadian whiskey, baby.
Yeah.
Canadian mist.
I think I've puked everywhere other than the sink.
Plastic bottle.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ty.
Never yacked in a sink.
Sink's never
yeah.
the first place you go to. It's
No,
right next to
it's
the
so
toilet.
close to the
usually.
toilet.
Yeah.
I think I did do once, but yeah, I'm generally a toilet, like the floor.
Yeah.
Which, oh man, there's not a story. I'll cut out most of the story, but 6 a.m. We've all been out drinking. We're like, this is like 18 years old. We're at a Denny's. A friend gets up and goes to the bathroom. All of a sudden, like 15 minutes later, some guy comes in and goes, "Hey, you friends with that blonde-haired fella?" He had like bleach white, like Android Blade Runner hair. And I was
Nice.
like, "Yeah." They're like, "He's throwing up in the bathroom." I open the door and there was puke everywhere in this Denny's bathroom, and he is like half covered in it, leaning against the wall. And I was like, hold on. I take him directly out, put him in the car, go back to the table, and I go, "We have to leave right now." And literally, as I said this, they were dropping all of the food we'd been waiting for, and I was like, "We have to leave right now." Oh, part of the story too, we were sitting next to a table of 6 cops. So like, drunk, underage, our friend just puked in the bathroom. I was like, holy fuck, we have got to get out of here.
Did you give him a tiny cup when he got in the car? A la Wayne's World?
Yes. If you're going to spew into this.
Beautiful.
Roy Batty puked.
That's not rain, baby. That's puke.
Puke.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's really gross how it's all over like that perfect bar of green soap.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did notice that.
Like,
It's very
oh.
good.
Shout out to
Yeah.
that design. It's
Shout out to that
gross.
soap.
That design was
Yeah.
so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the first time we saw it too. You heard the whole audience go, "Oh!" I
mean,
think they did it today as well.
Yeah, they did.
It is the definition of like spewing chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's explosive.
And because of the chunks, the sink is the worst place to do it in. Because
Oh,
then
I
you've got to
know.
you've got to pick those chunks up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rinse them
Ah.
off, baby.
Or you gotta mash them down that
Oh.
sink. Yeah.
Because you don't, I mean, in those dorms, you'd have to, your
I
only
guess, yeah,
choice
you
is
would.
the bin
That's
or
true.
the
Yeah,
sink.
that's right. They don't have a full. They're
You
not
wouldn't
like
have a
en
toilet.
suite. Like
Yeah.
an
You don't
old-
have a toilet?
Yeah,
wouldn't
like
have an ensuite there.
old college like that.
like a
You just have a
shared-
sink to like wash up in.
Oh,
You'd have
wow.
to go down the hall.
I had an
Yeah.
ensuite and a little shower.
Oh, Oh.
Yeah, I think
It's
really
like a
old
pod.
places.
Yeah, it's like a pod.
This place wouldn't
That's
put in
nice.
an air conditioner per Felix's sweaty point. They're not
But that's
gonna add
very
it.
common, though.
Yeah.
I mean, my view from the window though was just like another roof that was like tucked in behind the two buildings. Like I wasn't on the top floor, but I was on kind of like just where that, and you could walk out onto that. I used to go onto that to smoke, but it just looked out onto the back alley. So
Yeah.
there is that. I did have an ensuite, but didn't have a view.
I would
There's
prefer
that.
a toilet, so.
Oh, dude, I stayed at a B&B in London, and literally the door opened, and it barely cleared the bed by like a couple centimeters.
Oh, yeah.
And then the corner of the bed, which is only, I think, like a full, almost hit the corner of the one dresser. So you had to step over the corner of the bed to then get to the bathroom, whose door also brushed the edge of the bed. And then that bathroom, quote unquote, was just a triangle, like a 3 foot by 3 foot, could fully be hosed down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Kind of thing. It was beautiful. It was like something out of like European Vacation.
That sounds
You know what
like
I mean?
yeah, that sounds like exquisite engineering. Like someone designed it to be thin a few inches.
to the millimeter.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
That's like the place we went to when we went to London. Remember, we went there and opened the window, and it just looked
right.
out on the and it was like
It's
huh.
like looking right onto the big
Yeah, it
trash
was like-
bins outside. In
It
an
was
alley.
like looking out of the window of Jerry Seinfeld's like bathroom. Like it just looked onto a brick wall. You're just like, right, okay.
Like, wow, wonderful.
Yeah. It was good. I thought it was funny.
It is nice.
Yeah.
There's so much more to talk about before. And the next note that I wrote in this crazy scratched up notebook is about Saltburn, but I don't even want to go there yet because
Well, I
there's
also
the
wanted
whole
to.
scene
I wanted to talk about
with the rocks.
like this is like all good British films that we've seen before. Like the kind of the newish wave of British films that came out in the late 80s and into the 90s. Because there's a lot of British films styled to this that I quite enjoy.
Tell me more.
you know.
Like which
kinda-
ones? Which ones
Well, like
kind
good,
of it?
like good British films, like Trainspotting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. They kind of put like a twist on the ordinary that we
Yeah.
kind of like quite a fair amount from that time. Or like 24-hour Party People.
Those all have
Like
pretty
that
good
sort of
vomit
thing.
in them
Oh yeah.
for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they do.
Yeah. This is in line
Top
with that. yeah.
vomit shots in
Yeah.
films. This
In
would
British cinema.
In British
Yeah.
cinema.
Yeah.
Has
Is
to be
there
British
is there a
cinema.
BAFTA for that? Is there a
be. There
BAFTA?
should be.
Yeah.
I mean, the BAFTAs might as well just be full of vomit. It's all fucking garbage to me. But yeah. Yeah.
I wonder how Steve Coogan would have done as the role of the father, but I'm glad Richard E. Grant is in it. I was
might-
thinking of BAFTA people.
I think he would have been too much. He might have been too much.
Oh, Cougs can lay
Tone
it
it
down,
down?
real
I
good.
think
Like
I don't know. I think he might have been a bit of he might have been a little too hungry to steal those scenes. I feel
it's
like
a little bit too attractive. Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
That's
that wasn't the answer I was looking for, but it was the answer we got.
There you go.
They sit and they watched Superbad as well at one point as well. Just in case you didn't know, this was in the 2000s. They
It's
watched
the
Superbad.
cutest.
Yeah. It's very cute.
It's really cute. Them all watching Superbad. I love it.
What was the horror film they were watching?
They're watching
The
The Ring.
The Ring.
The American
that
remake
was
of
it.
The
The
Ring, I
American
think.
remake. Yeah,
Naomi
the Gore Verbinski movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there is that moment, right? It's like after exams and they're having, I'm going to go back and then we'll go to Saltburn. I'm sorry. But when it's a sweet moment when they finally become friends again, because like we were talking about the phone call from the mom, right?
Yeah.
That Oliver gets. And then he warps this into the thing saying that my dad died and he cracked his head on the pavement and my mom's all drunk. She has no idea what's going on. And so Felix feels bad for him, right? Because he's like his little pet project, his little puppy. And he does that sweet, sweet thing where after exams, before they go to the party, if they even go to the party, he tells him the story about how it's like a tradition in their family when someone passes away that they write their name on a little stone and then they throw it into the river. And so they have that nice little moment together. And I think that was really where I was like, this guy's a nice guy. This Felix guy is like a genuinely nice guy because Oliver is difficult. Like he's not an easy
Yes.
person
Yeah,
to
he's
get
an
along with.
Intense friend.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
He needs a lot of work as a friend.
But they allude, like even his sister alludes to like, oh, better than last year. Like,
Oh yeah,
Felix
does.
brings like a in need of help friend home every summer. I think he always has a little pet friend amongst all of this.
Of course,
that's the vibe.
Of course. But I like that moment because he throws the rock and then it hits like an old bottle and a pile of vomit.
Yeah.
More vomit.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's not great at throwing things. There's water all around, but
I know. I know. Yeah, but then he decides that he'll go to Saltburn because he doesn't want to go hang out with his drug-addled mother. When Oliver shows up for the first time at Saltburn and he gets greeted by Duncan.
The very scary butler, who at first too, when he opened the doors open, I'm like, wait, is this house also haunted? How'd those doors open? I don't know how. I felt very Oliver in that moment. I'm like, how does rich people stuff work, man?
That's true. He also looked like he had lip fillers.
I think Duncan does have lip fillers. He might. I think he has fillers maybe in a few
his
places.
cheeks too. Yeah,
he looks great.
Yeah, he looked very smooth. But that shot in the very beginning, which I maybe shouldn't even be bringing up right now, but is a mirror of the very, very end of the film. Mm-hmm. So, like, when he gets to walk through the house and getting introduced to it for the first time is a mirror of the very end where he dances through the house. So...
I see.
It's the same path.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
okay.
so like walking through and saying, oh, look at all these rooms. He does that same one all the way back, but, obviously.
Which... this is the time to talk about it. The original ending was just him, like, in a robe, walking around, sort of, like, observing everything and, like, sort of being the master of the house and then sitting down and getting, like Duncan serves him, like, runny eggs and he eats them. Like, it was a different sort of tie back. And then she decided, like, no, it's going to be better if he's just, like, dancing naked. Like, let's just go full crazy with this.
It needs to be more of a celebration.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad that they did film that at the end of like kind of like the production, because you do kind of get more comfortable and you do kind of realize how maybe things have moved and changed, because I think these things are more of like a living entity as you go through, so you can change things up a bit.
It also just like creates an even further dichotomy from like him being crazy at the end to like even when Felix is walking him through, he's telling him crazy stories or little bits. He's like, "Oh, it's Shakespeare's Folio. Accidentally fingered my cousin there."
Yeah,
he's just dropping these.
There's Grandma's ghost. Hi, Grandma.
Yeah, it's just like he's also being very flip about a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like pure like detached rich
of
boy
course.
stuff. Yeah,
because what else would you do? This is where you grew up. This is like that's your house.
Yeah,
like that's your home, and it looks like that.
This is a long gallery. Implies that there's another gallery.
Right?
It's a long gallery.
Well, we'll all be in the library. Meet us in the library. And he's like, the library?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
What do you think they have in the library? Just copies of Harry Potter books?
It would seem
that's
so.
all they're reading.
It would
well,
seem
only
so.
a few. They're not all out yet, are
yeah,
they?
I love that they're reading Harry Potter. I love that they ask if they think Harry, Ron, and Hermione will have a threesome, because they should have. You remember that?
They say that in a movie?
This movie, yeah. It's when they're like floating in the pond, and I think the sister's reading the book.
Oh.
Someone just yells out, "Hey, do you think?"
Oh my gosh.
Hope I didn't make that up. That'd be really weird.
No, I love that. I didn't even notice that. But they all share that same copy, right? It's like one person finishes it, and then the other person reads it, which I think is very cute because it's the same copy.
Should Harry Potter and what's the other name of the other ones in that?
Ron and Hermione?
Should they have had a threesome?
No,
maybe not as kids.
Obviously no.
They were children. That was the first.
They were
That's
children.
where you get experimental.
You monster.
They were at school.
I didn't ask the question. I thought Renée was genuinely asking the question, and I'm like,
well, anyways. I like that.
Not necessary, Ryan.
I like that
it could go different ways.
Oxford reminded me of Harry Potter movies, and they're all reading Harry Potter movies, and then they allude to the bisexuality that should have happened in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
There you go.
wow, there you go.
There should have been more threesomes in Harry Potter. That's what we're saying. Obviously. That's a takeaway.
Well, Dumbledore's also gay as well, so could have been all open to all sorts of possibilities as well.
That's true. That's canon.
Yeah. So it's just so J.K. didn't look like an app, like the worst imaginable. Just like, no, I am open to other sexualities.
And you go, what's the difference if he's gay? It makes no difference whatsoever. Exactly.
Because it wasn't written that way, was it? JK.
Do you remember when you see Carey Mulligan, and we already called her, oh, dear poor Pamela, right? Oh my gosh. She is really cool. And I did like her hair a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She has
beautiful.
that tattoo that just says, what does it say, daddy? On her arm and a heart.
She had really bad tattoos. Yeah.
The worst.
Oh, yeah.
The worst tattoos, but I
she was an
liked them.
addict. They could mean that she was an addict. I mean, she already wasn't making good decisions.
And she was hanging out with a Russian billionaire.
Also in rehab.
Also in rehab. I love when she goes, oh, I didn't understand the Russian word for whore, so I just thought it sounded like lovely poetry.
Malignantly ugly.
Well, Rosamund Pike has a deep-seated fear of ugliness.
That's true.
And facial hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Rosamund Pike has probably some of the best lines in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Like, she is pure comedy gold, and she
Yeah.
plays
Obsessed
it
with her.
straight as a heart attack. But, like, she is the source of so much good comedy.
She's incredible.
So detached from reality.
She's like, I barely knew Jarvis, as in Jarvis Cocker, the lead singer of The Verve back in the day. Yeah.
I love it when she says that everyone thought the song "Common People" was
about her.
Was about her.
Yep.
I read the lyrics after watching the movie. I'm like, oh, this is like basically a song speaks about like how how these people treat people that are poor or common. Like they just want to like dabble in their world and they'll never understand.
What else did she say? In the song it says something about wanting to know everything. She goes, well, I never wanted to know anything at all. Like, I never wanted to learn anything. I'm like, amazing.
So good.
She was always, speaking of her and poor dear Pamela, she's like, oh, later, like the darkest joke in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Like
the one that got
anything.
me,
Yeah.
she'd do anything for attention. To just like casually drop that line and saying like, yeah, Pamela killed herself.
And it's so offhand, like, oh, we have to go to London. Why are you
So
going to
offhand.
London? We have to go to Pamela's funeral.
Yeah.
What?
It's just so, doesn't register. Like, oh, it's a thing we have to go do.
Yeah.
So it's so cruel.
Like, I'm so annoyed. It's
after
such
she
a beautiful
lived-
hot day. I just don't even want to go.
Yeah.
She lived with them for months, and they
Yeah. It's pretty bad. That's that's like one of those moments where you just like really get to see their character.
So we have the first, and I'm stealing from your notes, Renee, the first dick tease, right? Where you have these beautiful people. You have, oh, what is her name? Venetia? Venetia,
Yeah.
Felix, Farley, and Oliver. And Oliver's kind of walking to them, and they're in that field, and it's so beautiful, and you have the beautiful light. And they go, what does he say? No trunks allowed in the field. And so Oliver's got a D pants, and Farley says it right. He goes like, good for you.
Yeah, he takes off his pants, and then he says, good for you. And someone else says, well, that was a twist.
What a twist, because that's his last name. That's what I wrote, and I couldn't read
twist,
it.
okay.
Because in the dark theater, it looks like I wrote, what a heist, which is kind of a weird thing. But it says twist.
So you assume that's going to be a big penis.
That's going to be an acceptable thing to check out later. And it is. So I love this scene because it's this montage, and you get this beautiful summertime friendship montage of just relaxation and reading Harry Potter and smoking cigarettes and drinking drinks.
Playing tennis in fancy clothes.
Playing
Right, love
tennis
that.
in formal wear, drinking bottles of probably very expensive like actual champagne, not Prosecco.
Yeah.
I just want to live that for like,
I know.
I don't know, 3 to 4 days.
That's my dream. This is like the Call Me By Your Name montage, where Call Me By Your Name's like the whole movie is that, but it's more attainable. So you have the attainable Call Me By Your Name thing, where you have just like a house you could probably rent with some friends. Mm-hmm. You have a little pool. You can ride bikes, and then you have this, which is unattainable because you can't rent a stately home with your friends and hang out by the pool and the pond. I enjoyed this whole montage very much.
I mean, technically,
Summertime.
Emerald Fennell did do it. She did exactly that.
Oh, she
Did
do it.
rent the massive fuck off castle.
The massive fuck off castle.
They had another pretty montage in the beginning that I liked. When it was like a party friendship montage as well that I enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
So it was 2 really good, like, good time montages in this movie.
Good time, sexy friends, usually pretty sweaty montages.
Yeah, it made me want to be like a young person in England, like the way that like Spaced and other TV things did. Like, I want to be a young person in England from like 1995 to like 2005.
It's like the minute you said it, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like
why would
Spaced?
you want? Why English of all things?
Well, I don't know. You know,
Well,
I
the
was
way
like-
that they make it in this film looks great.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you're in like a place, you're partying in a place that's like hundreds of years old. It's always like some weird like wine cellar or something. Like they're all drinking beers. There's probably ecstasy around. The next morning, everyone's drinking a Lucozade trying to get back to real life.
Yes.
Like everyone's
that's
chain
right.
smoking, which I fucking love in theory. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like
it always looks so hot, and it doesn't matter. Everything we know now, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
I don't agree. I
No,
just
no,
think
no,
of
no.
the smell.
No, I
The
know.
act
You're
is
eating
terrible. I don't
breakfast.
want to do it. It's awful. But
Makes
they
me
make it
hurt
look so
my throat.
fucking good. Yeah. No, I hate it.
It's disgusting.
If you actually enter me in that scenario, 2 puffs, I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. This fucking sucks. Why are we doing this? But it looks great.
it
I
looks great.
remember smoking cigarettes and having a fantastic time.
See, Ryan knows what's up. Ryan knows what the fuck is up.
But that's still what I want to do. Like, I still want one of my birthdays to be like the Call Me by Your Name. We're like in France, or we go to Italy, and we have a house, and we have wine, and I'm smoking cigarettes. But I don't even want to actually smoke them. I just want to be around holding it.
We gotta
for a
bring
while.
our formal wear, and the property needs a tennis court
needs a
because
tennis
that
court, yeah.
I'm into
can do
that
that.
part of the fantasy
Although,
right now.
I will say, if I'm going to smoke a cigarette, it needs to either be one, accompanied by like sweaty dancing and beer, or even better, a true like Jim Jarmusch style like diner coffee, like a Jim Jarmusch,
This
or
does
like
not mesh
or
with
like-
my birthday.
No, that's
choice.
not.
or like David
it's not doing
Lynch,
it.
like pure like 3 a.m. Just chain smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee like you're
Yeah.
19 again.
You
Mine's
moved
like
to a
by the
different
pool,
movie.
by
I
the
have.
pool, really hot.
Slice
I've got a
of
large
pie.
glass of wine.
What pies do you
Me
have?
and Ryan, this may be like a boys versus girl thing because I
Yeah,
think me and
maybe.
Ryan are vibing away and y'all are vibing.
And I need them to be
away.
Virginia Slims.
Oof.
I want
thin ones.
cloves. Can I? Do I have to smoke cigarettes at all?
You can smoke cloves.
Thank you.
I used to smoke Golden Virginia tobacco. I used to get that. Yeah, I used to smoke
Is
that.
like a Virginia tobacco still like a thing in like England? Is that like a cool thing?
I mean, it was
It's
just
the whole reason we exist. In
well, it
America.
was what was called Golden Virginia. That's what I remember.
The first cigarettes I smoked were a pack of Virginia Slims 100s that I stole from my grandfather's wife. We weren't allowed to call her my grandmother.
Those were the thin ones,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, the 100. They were long and thin.
Long and thin.
They were long and thin.
My coworker at Barnes and Noble had them, and
$100s.
I'd always take them, and I'm like, these are just so gross.
They're
I just wanted a
they were
cigarette
like
break.
Yeah, they were like quote unquote like
You
a
didn't get a
lady
break.
cigarette, like lady smoked 100 or 120s.
Yeah.
120s were longer. They were like
I thought
super
those
long.
looked cool.
Anyway,
Oh, Renee's like,
Renee's
stop
like,
it.
wrap up the cigarette talk, y'all.
Little
Disgusting.
slender
She's like, I
cigarettes.
can smell you all in theory, and I'm
Yeah.
so grossed out.
I mean, if you're buying slender cigarettes, I mean, I used to roll quite slender cigarettes in my big chunky fingers.
All right, moving on.
There is this moment that you can't help but kind of connect to The Shining, obviously, because you have a hedge maze, and Oliver goes and he has that really cool diagram that I love, this like wooden diagram of the maze, and you know he memorized that shit. You know he knows exactly how to get in and out of that maze. But it's got those cool metal balls, and you can kind of figure out your way in and out of the maze, and that's where Duncan comes in, and he's like, oh, basically get the hell out of here. And
Yeah, like it's a room in the house. Why?
Like,
is
why can't he
not
look?
supposed to be in there? Like that thing was made for touching.
it was.
Yeah.
I that whole thing. I want to be like, fuck off, Duncan.
I
Like,
know, seriously.
He's
Get your-
actually enjoying the things of this place.
Get your cheek fillers out of here and let me look at the maze. But there's right after that is the scene where I think he's back in his bedroom, but there's that wallpaper. And it just looks like The Shining. It's
Right.
it's not exactly like a replica from The Shining, but it just kind of reminds me. Like you go from looking at a hedge maze, and then you have this wallpaper. I
yeah.
don't know if you noticed, it was like that orange and red in those kind of blocky squares. Just reminded me
Potentially.
a lot of The Shining.
Essentially.
Just a bit.
Well, I remember the bit in The Shining, and I like the bit in The Shining where he's looking at where Torrent Jack's looking at the model of the maze.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you see an overhead shot, and then it cuts back to his face, and he's all fucked up, and he's looking back. He's looking back down at the diagram, but it's not the diagram, it's just an overhead shot of the actual maze as they are going through it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Emerald didn't traumatize everyone as much as as Stanley did during that.
How do you know?
Yeah,
How do you
I
know?
don't know.
You never know.
It looks like they're all still best friends.
I don't know. The Shining's still a good film.
Have you
y'all.
seen
Like,
Sweet Shelley Long? Come on.
Yeah.
She's having a hard
You
time.
hurt her.
I don't know. I mean, she was also in Popeye.
Which you can still go to that set, by the way.
That's in Greece, right?
Yeah, it
Malta.
still exists. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in
want
Malta.
to go to there. That
Yeah,
looks,
me too.
that
My
movie
friend
is
went.
a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But a beautiful set design.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah, my friend went. Said it's just as weird. And
Can we go to
amazing as you
Waterworld
think it
as
is.
well? Is that still there? Oh, Renee's got a funny note.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. I was just basically it's like when other people say things, I'm like, look, I just ever heard that too.
I notice a lot of Letterboxd reviews, and it's mostly like, the bathtub is rivaling the peach, in Call Me by Your Name.
Okay.
And I'm like, not quite, but I love it. I love it. It's gross, it's intimate, and he gets his tongue right in that hole.
He does, yeah. He really kind of does something that's like, as filthy as things. It made me feel a little bit sick. Yeah.
It would be filthy even without what had come before it.
Yes.
Like, that's just a gross like drinking
Yeah.
bathwater after
Yeah.
somebody, like beyond the additional what was in there. Like, that's just gnarly anyway.
It's like we poop and pee and sweat and stuff. All that shit comes off you and it gathers in the drain plug. And he's sticking his tongue against it. All your hairs and things, like, it's fucked up.
That's grossing me out more than what he was than being implied that he was actually drinking. That's worse to me.
That's what it is, though. Like,
I still think it's really hot, and I still liked it a lot. He's perving on him, watching him jerk off in the bathtub, and then slurping it up at the end. I was 1,000% in. I loved every second of it.
Great moment.
It was wonderful.
Cinema in its truest form.
So, another part that maybe I shouldn't have thought was as sexy as it is, but the vampire scene.
Yeah.
oh, the period.
Yeah, but I love my favorite part of that whole thing is when still in the bathtub, it cuts to that shot at the very end where he lowers himself into the bathtub and he just fully, even under the water, has the full like
because
red mouth.
That's thick blood.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't.
Thick,
That needs a
iron-rich
little
blood.
scrubbing to come off.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's thick.
That's my favorite part of that whole thing. It's just like the quote unquote aftermath.
I love that. I love that he rubs it all over her too, because he's like, I'm gonna get, I'm gonna do this. You need, I'm gonna make you be okay with this kind of thing. Not okay, but I don't know how to say it. Like, deal with it too.
Yeah, because I think you and I, Renee, had a conversation about this that we won't delve into necessarily. Just about
What the fuck?
I don't know, relationships and being at that time of the month and levels of being comfortable with that type of thing, right? We don't need to get disgusting about it. And I don't think it's disgusting at all. I'm saying that I like that he's just really jumping into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
I
a
agree.
vampire. Yeah.
He's a vampire.
Yeah.
She's sitting outside. She obviously is waiting for him to come out, but she's in a see-through nightgown.
I mean, that's already vampire-y. Like, that's already
Yeah,
like,
true.
I'm asking for a bite kind of activities that you see women do in vampire movies.
Yeah, because she's out there, and what does he say? Like, oh, you're just standing outside my window in a see-through nightgown. And she's like, well, this is my house. I can be wherever I want. He goes, so you want to be outside my window in a see-through nightgown? And yeah, she's like, it's my time of the month. Best not go downtown. And
What's the practicality of wearing a white nightgown when you're on your period? And obviously
had the
there was
same.
nothing filling the hole.
she's probably a pad person. She's got to
So
be.
he just went through. She was wearing underwear, and he just went through.
I
like-
think so.
Okay,
She's not just free bleeding.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think that's what Renee's
it
asking.
made it feel like she was just.
The
free
movie did
bleeding.
basically
I immediately
imply that
thought
she was
she's
just
wearing a
out
pad.
there.
Okay.
I'm free.
Yeah, I'm a
Free bleeding.
Free bleeding.
A lot of people in this room are actual Tom Petty fans, for the record. We're not making fun.
Which is another reason why I think you want to go see that Joel Edgerton
Oh.
rowing movie, is because a Tom Petty song is playing.
Oh, it brainwashed me.
Brainwash you.
That's exactly what they
cool.
did.
I love
Yeah,
I
how
was like, she loves
because
Tom.
I also
art's work.
it was maybe the worst trailer out of the ones that we saw. Was the rowing boat one?
The beekeeper looks amazing.
Oh, so we all agree that the trailer for that mystery. Wait, well, no, spy.
Argyle?
Author, yeah, Argyle. We all agree that looks awesome.
I think it looks awesome, but if they would not do that weird CG cat thing, I would like it a million times more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the
I
comedy
agree with
cat?
that. And it's got my number 2 girl, Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Is she?
He tells me that all the time now.
My number 2.
Is she like why is she popular? Is she a singer? Pop star?
You said it. You said it, yes.
Who else is in
Yeah, I'm
it?
way
Why are we
in.
talking about Argyle? It does not look
Trailers.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It looks good other than the cat thing. The cat thing is embarrassing.
I don't know.
Coming back to the period vampire scene, in the scene before, you have Felix's mom, like Venetia's mom, talking about how she doesn't eat. She has fingers for pudding, which I think is the funniest way of saying that she's bulimic.
Yeah, that took me, like, I think that's going to go over some Americans' heads.
Yeah, I was confused. But
And then
I
she's like, it's not even
understood
doing
at
her
the
any
same
good.
time.
Yeah,
Which
that
is
line
so
is like,
funny.
holy
Yeah,
shit.
she's
so
yeah,
fucked
you
up.
can't even notice.
Yeah, it's
you
like,
can't
oh
even
my
tell.
gosh.
She's
What's the
vomiting.
point?
It's like she still looks the same. It's like, that's
That's pretty fun.
horrible.
Yeah.
But then you have Oliver going, you're not taking care of yourself. You're not eating. You're going to sit at the table and you're going to eat with us and you're going to stay at the table. And she's so into it. She goes, yes, like, yeah, I'll do whatever you say. And then he goes, well, I could just eat you. I'm like, yes, tell me more. And then that's when she says, it's like my time of the month. He goes, well, it's lucky that for you that I'm a vampire. I'm going to dig into this. I love that. I love it. It's so gross. He gets the fingers in there. He puts his...
There's like a spit string.
Yeah, oh, the spit string in his mouth is...
Yeah.
I have to look away from that a little
I
bit.
don't love
Yeah.
it. But it's very... It makes you feel something. But he wipes those, like, period blood, like, down her face, down her chest, very into it. But then there's one point where he sticks, like, almost all of his fingers in her mouth.
Yeah.
And that happens more than once in this film, where someone puts their whole, like, hand and grasps, like, their lower jaw inside of their mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
She does it to him later
Yeah.
in the movie as well. And I'm like, I've never done that ever to anyone. Have you ever stuck, like, all of your fingers inside
No, me
someone's
either.
mouth and pulled
I
their
don't
jaw?
know. Like, I just don't know if, like, my hands going into your mouth is the sexiest thing. Like, my entire hands.
Depends on context. I mean,
Well,
as long as
clearly,
you don't put your
'cause it
whole
happens-
fist in there,
It
that
happens
would not
twice
be
in
cool.
this movie. One of them is sexy, and the other is definitely not sexy. To
No, the
your
other one
point,
is
it's
very
all-
threatening.
We
Yeah,
could definitely,
exactly.
we could try it later.
Okay.
I don't know if, I don't know if
We'll
I'm
report
going
back.
to enjoy
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I will say Venetia, I think, is maybe the most tragic, or at least the saddest character. Like, she's the most chronically sort of just like melancholy and sad. Everyone else has some source of joy, whether it's being just like totally disconnected from reality or whatever.
Yeah.
She seems just like very melancholy her entire life and
Yeah.
then dies. Like, she's the saddest one to me.
Yeah.
And
She
she predicts things too about
Yes.
them,
Yeah.
like all about to
Absolutely.
go a little crazy.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, because she's more tuned in because she's just like sad and like actually tuned in instead of just disconnected from everyday reality. Anyway,
It's just a bummer because she didn't, like,
dude-
she wouldn't have killed herself.
no, but the joy she had eating that croissant, it's the only time you see her like truly happy is when he pushes that croissant. And no, I'm dead serious. Like, her third bite, she's just like a child given something she's never allowed to get. And then she immediately gets up and like...
Yeah, she didn't even listen to the commands.
Yeah,
Next
exactly.
day she eventually gets up and
She loves that croissant.
we assume she...
They were talking about the guys that are coming, like, they have a bunch of people coming to dinner.
The Henrys?
Yeah.
The Henrys?
Yeah.
All the Henrys coming to dinner. She goes, well, you're going to seat me next to the one Henry that, like, molests people. And they're like,
Wow.
oh, we'll sit next to Oliver and he can molest you. Mm-hmm. And now she's eating that croissant. I'm also usually pretty happy eating a croissant. I know you are, Ryan.
I do like croissants.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite pastry items.
Yeah,
Yes.
croissants are delicious.
Yeah, I will
She
take
agrees.
croissants.
She agrees.
Could you imagine waking up every morning and having a full breakfast just ready waiting for you like they do in this
More so
movie?
having to go to
What a
it.
dream.
But you have to go to it. It's like It's at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Or
I
whatever.
doubt it's at 7:30.
They seem like
Knowing
9
them.
a.m. breakfast people
That
to
did.
me.
You're right.
9 to
But
10.
still, yeah, you're right.
I
Fair
couldn't.
point.
Yeah, I couldn't do a full breakfast like that every morning. I couldn't do that.
Well, Ryan,
You don't
you-
have
I
to
could.
because
Ryan,
only the eggs are
Only
made
the
for
eggs
you.
are made. Yeah, everything else is on the side, buddy.
Yeah, but I can't eat
just pick
eggs.
whatever.
Though. The eggs
Then
give
great.
me a
Then you
sore
just go to the
stomach.
side
You got some
and get
sausage,
as
toast,
little or as much as you
Ooh,
want.
A little bit of sausage.
some
yeah.
tomatoes, and
Potato
oh,
scones.
potatoes.
Square sausage.
Yeah.
a bit
But
of
they have to get
bacon.
dressed to go to breakfast. Like, no, like lightly. You have to
regular
lightly get
clothes.
dressed. But yeah, it's just like,
You can wear athleisure. Venetia does.
yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not for me. I wasn't built for it.
I might try to get her whole outfit that when she was playing tennis in to
Oh,
wear
so
to
Oh,
New
it's so
Year's.
good. And she has the pigtails too.
So
And she's
good.
not
A lot of
like
people have
3-inch
such
lips.
big
Like,
hair. She has to have that. Some of it's got to be fake.
Yeah, extensions for sure.
Yeah, nice and thick. So they have to plan Oliver's birthday party, right? And they go at least
So weird.
100, but inevitably 200 people will show up, right?
it's like a huge wedding, just for
Yeah.
reference. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
a massive wedding to have 200 people, let alone just a party.
But this is where you get to see Richard E. Grant being almost his most cutest.
He's so happy wearing that
Childlike,
armor.
yeah.
Wearing that just weird only top part armor. He's having such a nice time.
I
He's like,
love-
"Can you wear the armor?"
Well, I love the fact that he's decided what he's going to wear at the party, and you're like, he's coming in armor, and I'm like, what kind of armor is it going to be? And it's Roman.
He didn't care what the theme was. When she said it was going to be a theme party, he was like, I'm wearing the
we're City of
armor.
And
my
they're like,
armor.
we're
She was
doing
like,
a
yeah.
Midsummer Night's Dream. Does that have anything to do with it? No, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Loved it.
Oh, the other thing he did that was cute that we didn't talk about was the karaoke party.
That's at the party.
Yeah.
No, the karaoke party is like way
Before,
earlier.
It is,
yeah.
Oh, there's the dinner with the Henrys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
dinner
you
with the
go.
Henrys. And
Yeah, they do the.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
that's
they
so
do
much
the
stuff we didn't even
karaoke.
talk about.
Yeah, well,
hand
we
job.
don't
The
have to
hand
talk
job.
about everything.
I know.
But
so good.
yes, the hand job. When's the hand job? Is there a
Far-
hand job?
the Farley
Farley
hand job.
hand job. He spits in his hand. It's in your notes.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's all
Sure
the
it
notes
is.
are.
In your manic notes.
No,
Jesus.
that was a hand job. Yeah.
It was just for lube.
Even though everyone thinks I don't give hand jobs, I can recognize a hand job when I see it.
Oh. What happened with the mirror, by the way? What happened with the mirror?
What was that like? Was that symbolic for something?
Ooh,
Did
he
that
even
happen?
Yeah,
Did it even happen?
That's
Or
what I
because the
thought.
next morning they just give him that one thing where he just touches the frame and is like,
No
curious.
way they got that mirror replaced that
Yeah,
fast.
so like, did that
In
was
the
that
night?
just his mind? Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
think-
I think it was
who's-
just implying it was just in his head.
Well, what's the head butler's name?
Duncan.
Duncan. He probably did it. They probably
Oh, he
did
would
it
have
like
someone
super
else do it.
fast. Yeah, probably did it.
Well,
real
when you
quick.
see that, to me, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, he's gonna like pull that piece of glass on him. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh,
yeah, that's
like a
where I thought he
murder.
was
That's
going.
what I
yeah.
thought, too.
Yeah, when the first
Oh,
time I saw
yeah.
it, I was like, oh, he's gonna like threaten him, but then it takes a totally different turn with the hand job. But yeah,
yeah,
I liked that scene too. That was another sexy scene.
It's like even the Farley Oliver relationship seems like it goes from hate to like, oh, I don't know, not love, but hate to like sex. Like the lines are blurred if you like are interested in someone or you also hate them, but either way you want to
yeah.
fuck them.
I think it goes back to that kind of idle rich being bored. Like people are only for entertainment. Like in that moment, you're like, well, there's
Yeah.
nothing more entertaining around. You'll
Yeah.
do.
Well, that's yeah. Also in that karaoke scene, what does he say? Like,
let it rain.
marry, fuck, or ditch was
Yeah.
something like that. And he was
Oh,
like
okay.
Richard III, Henry VIII, and I can't remember the other one.
It's like Charles II or something.
But he was
Charles
like-
the Third. Well, Charles II is what we have right now.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think he'd be in a portrait on the wall. But
Sausage fingers. Yeah.
ooh, yeah. But he was like, oh well, I would fuck Richard III because he would probably give it his all because he's a little bit like I don't know, like embarrassed.
Yeah, he said he was a little
Yeah, I can't remember.
in something. Yeah, I can't
Insecure. He's a little insecure, so we might give it his all.
Yeah.
But that's when Oliver's like, well, instead of him, maybe you can fuck me. And I'm like, oh boy. I think that was I'm trying to remember, but I think that might be the first time we were like, okay. Like you're trying to do something. Or it might be when Felix found out, like Farley told him that he was like doing the vampire with his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, now you can see the wheels turning. You can see the game starting to come together.
Yeah.
Where he's not all passive Like, it's all quite aggressive, everything he's doing, and you don't really realize it.
Did we kind of skip over the scene with like them on like where we kind of talked about it, where like him and Rosamund Pike are just like talking at sunset, and she's wearing that purple gown, and she has the greatest line, but we didn't say the line though.
I was a lesbian once.
Oh dear.
But it was all a bit too wet for me.
In the end.
And men are
just so lovely and dry.
So lovely and dry.
So lovely and dry. That is amazing.
She's so good in this.
I mean, she also uses in that
so good in this.
When they're talking about Venetia, she calls her sexually incontinent, which I also love.
Yeah.
Oh, did she? I didn't catch that.
She's sexually incontinent.
Yeah.
We did already talk about this because we talked about the bulimia thing.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that and not like other dialogue exchange. Yeah,
but that whole thing was like
that whole back and forth
so calculated, so interesting, and also so funny. Like.
Yeah, he gets her in that scene. That's where Oliver
he won her over. Yeah.
Well, also because he said, "Well, it must be hard for Venetia with you as her mother," and she's like, "Why?" Mm-hmm. And he said, "Ooh, it's so uncomfortable."
Yep.
Because he goes, "It's because you're so fucking beautiful," and it's just that beat.
And it works. She's like loves the flattery. There's just a really sick moment. You're like, "Ooh, someone's not healthy."
Yeah. It is finally Oliver's birthday, and it is the morning of his birthday party with 200 guests, Midsummer Night's Dream, and Felix, the best friend, decides to take him on a road trip, and you don't know where they're going. And Oliver had set up during this whole situation that he was the son of 2 drug addict parents, and he had no siblings, and he was poor.
And the dad had died while
Dad
he was
is
at
dead.
uni. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the mom, Oliver's mom, had been calling him, and I guess Oliver had left his phone in the bathroom, and Felix answered it one day. So he took it upon himself to mend their relationship and take him home on the morning of his birthday. Which is interesting, Ryan, because you said that you knew the whole, like you felt like you knew the whole time.
Yeah, I felt like he was lying because it was too over the top. Right. And I was kind of just like, I was a little bit, felt misled by the tone of the film as well until we finally get to Saltburn. So, yeah, I did think he was lying the entire time. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. The idea of him being dumb, but then he was also able to go to Oxford. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. That was kind of how it felt incredibly calculated, all the things that he was doing. So that was why. That was all.
At what point do you think Felix was like, he didn't know going into the drive, right? He didn't know it was a lie until I think the mom's like, "Oh, your dad's in the garden."
Yes,
and then they all came crashing down.
Even seeing the house,
he
was like,
questionable.
Yeah, you see when he pulls in, he's just like, huh.
Because he wanted to believe him.
Yeah,
he wanted to believe that his friend that he'd let into his life was telling the truth.
But man, when it cuts from the front door to them like mid conversation, he plays it so great. Just like unhinged laughter. Like, no, we're gonna fucking do this.
Yeah.
Like, we're in here. I'm gonna make you squirm as much as I can, and I'm gonna uncomfortably laugh through it. Oh no, take a pill, hang out. We're gonna fucking be here because I know you're hating.
For God's sake, Ollie, take a pill. Sit down. We're having spag bowl.
Yeah, like exactly.
They decorated. They had like
she made a cake.
Oh, she made a cake.
It was so sweet.
They were the sweetest
Dude,
parents.
sisters, multiple sisters that he was just like wanted nothing to do with.
And they're just so apologetic for him. The parents are like, "Oh, well, he might not have mentioned it because he's so busy with all of the lies he's also told us about his school time.
Yeah,
how he's on
crew. Like
crew.
He's a scholar.
The top scholar.
Yeah.
It's
that
great.
was painful.
Yep.
I mean,
I was squirming.
Even with all of that going on, the minute she mentioned spag ball, I'd be like, yeah, you know, this is going to be okay. I like spag ball.
Please, Ryan, enlighten the American viewers who might not know what spag bowl is.
Spag ball? Spaghetti bolognese. We just abbreviated it to spag ball. Makes it easier.
I guess.
Because it's such a common, delicious dish that
is.
everyone makes all the time.
I'm
That's
not
just
gonna
spaghetti
lie.
with meat sauce for some people.
Spaghetti bolognese. Nice red sauce with mince and mushrooms, and you put Parmesan cheese on the top of it. Yum, yum. But also... spag ball was kind of like the general term for it. So even if you weren't having spaghetti, I still called it spag ball when it had like penny. So
Just
had
any
what?
penny.
What the hell's Perry?
penny.
Penny.
Penne pasta.
Penny, yeah. That's
It's like
what I
any
said.
type
Perry,
of pasta
Penny. I
with
said
red
penny.
sauce,
Penny.
right?
Yeah, penny. You're silly.
Not Penny's boat.
Lynn Gwynne.
Isn't that a Lost reference? Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done, Laura. Wow. Taking us way
you.
back.
I would watch Lost
How
again.
many fucking references? These are all 2000s references as well. So.
Yeah, we're in a zone, baby.
Yeah, I'm right
We're
in
popping.
there.
We're all
Pop
here.
culture.
Yeah.
The early 2000s.
Yeah.
So obviously things are going to break down because he's lied the whole time. And how do you get back from that? When they get back, how uncomfortable that drive home would have been as well.
Yeah, because it's like 3 hours.
Yeah, we
maybe?
looked it up, right? Around like how
Yeah.
far it would have
Short.
been. It's I guess from Oxford to Prescott was like 3 hours. So
I'm
I
not
don't
sure,
know
'cause
exactly where.
we don't really know the location.
It's not short.
Right? Yeah,
Can't
it
be
would.
short.
Because Liverpool is up.
It was
like,
several hours, I think.
Yeah.
It vibed that way.
So they get back, and it is kind of getting dark already for the party, and I feel like Felix gives him the opportunity. I feel like he really does give him a good chance to like explain himself, and he doesn't. Like he can't. He's just like, I just wanted to be your friend. You should understand. And he does a shit job of explaining himself. It's awful. He had all that time in the car to probably explain what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume. Because I assume he wouldn't have said shit because it's terrifying. But yeah, he doesn't.
It's all part of the master plan, though. I mean, that's
I
the
don't
thing.
think it is.
Oh no, yeah.
No,
So we
that,
all
I think,
just
is the one thing out. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's the one thing out of his control
I don't think that
Yeah.
in the
he
whole movie.
had an understanding of the consequences. I felt like he was expecting to glide through the whole situation.
Okay.
And I think he had many plans. That's just conjecture. I'm just thinking. I think one
Yeah.
of the first plans was to get with Venetia. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your in there into Saltburn. But then that didn't work out with Felix, so then he had to dump her and then find another way.
Right.
So
okay.
that's just I don't know.
I don't even know
Potentially.
that he wanted Saltburn until a little bit later. That's
Really?
just my vibe. Like
Yeah,
Maybe,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was like, he didn't know if he wanted it until it was on the horizon that he could get it.
Or until it
You
was going
know.
to get taken away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I mean I'm jumping ahead, but at the party when Farley shows up at his birthday party, to
Yeah.
me that's the moment where he decides he wants Saltburn because he already understands that like Felix is like done with him.
Yeah.
You know, nothing bad's happened yet, but he understands that Felix is over him, and then Farley gives him that speech about how this like can never be his. And I think in his head he's probably like, now I want it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you're absolutely
yeah.
right. Yeah, you're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
This isn't your home. This is a story you're going to tell your fat kids.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he
Farley's
says that,
speech
right?
is- Oh,
With
yeah,
the
no, he
kids
does.
back.
No.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah, no, he says it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
he
catch it
calls
the
him
first
like-
time, but yeah, Farley's
Yeah.
speech is super mean.
it's great.
So mean. Farley
Yeah.
is so good at being mean.
He's so good. And he's so
He's
beautiful.
mean and
he's so
sexy,
pretty.
Yeah.
And he's just really scary.
But also they are like they're in competition.
Oh,
like
for
they're
sure.
the same role in this household.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
like the more
It's-
common person that can amuse them.
It's their song. Pet Shop Boys. That song is their song. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
The most-
Yeah,
another
exactly.
very
They shared the
uncomfortable-
song
Yeah.
at the karaoke.
It's like, this is your song too, Farley. Yeah, I like that moment.
That was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
But Farley, man, he can karaoke.
he can.
So it's like
Oh, yeah, it
it's
sounded great. He
funny to
played it.
see how someone could badly sing that and it's like taken really poorly. And then if you just bring in some charisma and some step and dance moves,
Yeah.
like then you own it and it's not
Yeah.
offensive. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a lovely moment in the Farley,
Yeah.
their little tete-a-tete sort
Yeah.
of that they do. That's a
Yeah.
nice moment in there.
Well, how does Richard E. Grant refer to the karaoke?
Oh, right. the joke I kept repeating it in the car on the way home from
Yeah.
the
What
movies.
does he say?
Because Oliver goes up, he goes, well, I don't know the words to this song. And Richard E. Grant's like, oh, but that's the best part about it, is that the words are on the screen.
He does.
What else does he say? I had the whole thing earlier and I forgot.
That's the best bit.
That's the best bit. That's the best bit.
And you put an accent on and everything.
I did.
Bless
Yeah,
his
you
heart.
did. Yeah, jeez Louise.
That's
What
the
a
best
joy.
bit.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
Watch everything Richard E. Grant has ever done, everybody. How to Get Ahead in Advertising, With Noel and I, literally everything he's done he is a national treasure. I've got more to say about that because you have that giant Minotaur statue with the big dick in the middle of
Love
the maze.
that.
Yeah, and
Love
it's
that.
like mossy or something. Like, what was its like design? Was
I
it just
know.
like overgrown? Because its hands are all
Yeah,
weird.
But it's
There were
everything's
plants
so
growing on it.
manicured.
Yeah, but then that thing, it looks like they were letting go because like
'Cause
when
it
they're
looks
having
cool.
sex, there's moss on. Like when like Felix is having sex with that girl on it,
Yeah.
it's covered in moss. You can see it better then. But yeah, it's like strangely they're just letting it go. I think
Because it looks
purposely.
cool.
I
Yeah.
thought the Minotaur was holding the head or something.
Oh yeah, I mean, seeing
All
it
I
twice
saw was
now.
the dick.
I saw the dick. I saw the horns.
Yeah.
Antlers.
Yeah.
And there's
however you
another
call
one in
it.
the background. There's
And then I
another one
saw
in the hedge maze.
what I thought. But I also
Because
feel
that's
like
weird. That's what Laura said to me when I first met her as well.
Yeah, that's all I could see.
All I saw was the dick.
Yeah.
And the
I'm like-
horns.
and the horns. Yeah.
We played a game when we first met, and it really stood out to me.
Yeah.
But it's very. Remember Your Highness, that ridiculous,
What are you talking about?
that ridiculous film with James Franco and
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
oh, what's his name? He's so funny. Danny
Danny.
Danny McBride.
McBride. Do you
Yeah.
know that movie? Natalie Portman.
Yes.
That movie is very funny.
own
I don't
movie.
give a shit what anyone says.
It's funny.
You have the
it's
big minotaur
fucking
with the
garbage.
dick that's chasing them around in the dungeon. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, oh yeah, I do.
So scary. Doesn't he take the dick? He's like cuts his dick off. Okay,
I was
Renee, you got to
thinking-
see that movie if you. Haven't seen
I
it.
don't think I have.
I saw it in the theater. It was a riot.
Am I the only one that got more Harry Potter vibes when they were in the maze and like he's dead and then the dad's
My
there,
boy!
he's crying over, yeah, my boy.
Where's your jumper, my boy?
Oh my
so
god.
sad, though, again.
Yeah.
Dude, no, the Harry Potter's way sadder.
Wait, yeah, it is.
My boy.
That's my
Yeah, they
And
did-
they're playing the horns. Dude. But that's what, you can play that over the scene if you want, and then
Oh yeah,
cry.
somebody's gonna do that on the internet for sure.
Oliver and Felix have their kind of, which we don't know at the time, their final blowout, kind of where Oliver's really trying to get, like, he's trying to reason with him, like, this is why I did this. It's because I love you so much. Doesn't it show how much I love you? Don't you understand? And then Felix says something like, "You make my blood run cold."
Yeah.
Which his sister did say earlier in the movie, we are cold-blooded people.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of sad. But yeah, it pretty much cuts from that, right? To, well, Oliver's kind of up all night and then wakes up to Rosamund Pike screaming,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, everyone looking for
Everyone looking
him.
for Felix. They're in the lake or in the pond, searching the pond. Oh,
Although they even
God.
give him that moment where he comes in and Duncan sees him, and there's that moment where you know Duncan's like, "You fucking did this."
Yeah.
Like Duncan's
Yeah,
like,
Duncan
They
knows.
know. They
Duncan
said it early in the
knows.
movie, too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they know.
They know.
I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen Downton Abbey. They know.
Yeah, exactly.
They know. He's straight dead right by the statue. So whatever he put in the bottle, which, you know, that comes later, but whatever happened, like, happened really fast.
Yeah, I wonder what did he put in the
I
bottle.
have no idea.
Yeah. Never tell
Fentanyl,
you.
maybe? Like, I would guess something like,
What can
What?
you get in 2007 to murder
can you
someone?
not
real
get
lot of
fentanyl back
cocaine.
Get
then?
fentanyl back then?
Could have been a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, I just like, everyone's doing lines and
They
I
were
would just
the only
think,
drug we really saw
Yeah,
that was
that's the only
cocaine.
thing that makes me think it was like just
and
a
I,
butt ton
to
of
me,
cocaine.
I would just not be suspicious of a drug test if it came back with something more deadly like fentanyl, because that's sometimes in other drugs. But that's
Again,
what
that's how he gets rid of Farley.
That's
for
true.
real, for true though, because he's like,
You
yeah,
guys were
he outs
doing
him. He's
lines,
like, "You
and
guys
I
were
would be
doing lines."
suspicious of
which
that.
that's what makes sense that his toxicology
because
report's
like
going to come back.
how much
cocaine. That's why I think
cocaine
it's
would you
cocaine.
have to put in? Like,
to just chug it down? Oh, a lot.
because he only had like a few sips of it.
I mean,
it would have to
even
be
if you
something
had
really
that-
strong.
Even if you had that tiny
Vial.
vial, that's not enough to murder. That's
Yeah.
not enough to kill somebody.
Yeah, I
that's
didn't-
what it's fentanyl. It's
I
something like
didn't-
morphine or fentanyl.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like. I thought it was like poison. It was missing the two X's and a skull on it.
Yeah,
Basically,
well-
that's why I just kind of thought it was.
I mean, I'll play with the film. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me
doesn't
that
get
much.
out of it at all.
I didn't have any issues with that.
I'm down with it.
Could have been anything.
But yeah, but at this point, there are questions as to, like, the deaths of this family and the questions pertaining to why is this happening, who's been around, and, like, how did this happen? That whole having lunch after Felix died is so funny. to me.
Dude, there's so many good bits. I
It's
love
so
that
funny and
this
so
weird,
fucking horrible.
terrible cold pie. They just made it look so unappetizing.
Yeah.
Like,
very,
just like,
very beige.
oh yeah.
So beige.
Yeah.
And then everyone's draped in red after like they managed to close the curtains.
And
Yeah,
then
that was
Venetia
wonderful.
overflowing her wine glass.
Yeah.
I've seen upset women do that before.
Yeah, it's
Drunk upset women.
She like pours it all. She like spills all over her shirt.
Yeah.
But I like that even when they're still with the body by the Minotaur statue, and the mom's like, "We would just leave this.
just leave
It's
this. We have
almost
to go
lunch.
to lunch.
It's
We have to go to
lunchtime."
Yeah.
And everyone's like on the floor crying. That's wild shit. But yeah, that whole lunch scene is really good. Like they're almost vomiting. You can hear the coroner like wheeling the body away.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Duncan keeps coming in and asking questions. I'm like, Duncan, just take over the situation.
Yeah.
You don't need to ask if the gardener can help show the coroner out of the maze. Like, just do it.
Just do it. dude.
Duncan's upset too. Of
course he's
He
upset.
doesn't know what to do. He's looking for comfort as well. Like,
Okay, well, that's
yeah, Duncan
fair.
seems
That's fair.
more affected than some of the other people, like the parents.
Yeah.
It's interesting because they keep kind of bringing up how upset Oliver was, but you only see it when he's alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Because that's not what the parents want. Like, he's trying to charm them, and they want comfort and normalcy. So if he can play like everything's normal too, it comforts them. It makes them want him around more.
God, yeah. Just them talking about how the cake was good and not cloyingly sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable.
Oh, isn't it just a shame how, you know, you don't even get to have a cake at a party because you're just
Isn't that
running
the way?
around.
That's always the way, isn't it?
That's just how it is. And everyone's just like, I can't eat. I'm going to vomit.
Yeah.
But that is how he gets Farrelly in the end.
Yep.
Bringing up the cocaine.
Times New Roman.
Oh, love that.
Hold
For the
on.
record, my answer
Hold.
is Avenir
Before you
next,
even
for the
get to
record.
Times New Roman, we have to talk about the grave. I remember when we were watching that. I love that. I wrote in my notes grave. On the next page, I wrote the music stops when he's fucking the grave. Like,
Okay.
there's that music and it's so loud and it's so intense. You can see him crying, but you can't hear anything. You just see him kind of like shuddering and shaking about. And he's, you know, he's laying and it's just that wide shot and it's mostly sky, you know, and he's just on the ground, on the grave, rubbing the grave. And then he starts taking his clothes off and then the music stops. And it's only the rain and him sobbing and then him taking his pants off. I hope I'm not going too fast. And then sticks his dick in the ground.
It's a really long, wide shot that kind of goes on for a fair amount of time. Yeah. So when it does escalate, you're just kind of like, oh, right, okay. We're going through a whole gamut of emotions at this point.
You leaned over to me during that, Ryan, and you go, "Is this the dick scene?"
Is that it?
And
Is that
that's
the
why
end
I
of it?
thought the first time I watched it
Yeah,
too.
you
Because
said it
you
to me
could
as
see
well.
the side of it. But I was like, wow, that's it. Like, that's all we're gonna get.
No.
Nope.
No.
I mean, it was a great scene, but
It is a great.
it
is
wasn't a great viewing of
But
the penis.
Because you think about, I don't know, like I can't compare that to anything I've really seen before, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty
don't-
dark
For that moment, though, I don't think.
and also hot.
Yeah, I don't
Question
think
mark?
we're not going to have any kind of definitive time codes at this moment because Saltburn's obviously still in the cinema.
I'll do my best.
Yes, we'll try.
But yeah, Times New Roman. That is a really sad moment, though, when they're all kind of back in the library where they had been watching The Ring and had been watching Superbad, and they're just talking about how conventional the priest was and how his middle name was River and we never knew that before, and he was
Well,
making fun of
yeah.
them naming him River and his middle name.
Well, Rosamund Pike has that really kind of stark moment where she's like, yeah, I never thought I'd have a child and then I'd have to decide what I was going to have to put on its headstone.
Yeah.
So
It is funny also, like it's horrible and funny, and
it's the way that she delivers it and that
Yeah.
it's like, good golly, did you realize I would have to do that? That was crazy.
well then you know, and like the design of it and talking about the font, and then Oliver goes, well, what font did you pick?
I know. I love that. It's
And
such
she,
an
and
earnest
she kind
question.
of
He's like,
perks
"What'd you
up.
pick?"
Perks up a bit. She goes, oh, Times New Roman.
Yeah,
it
it was
seemed-
a good. Yeah, it's a good.
Seemed like a good fit. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, that is a good choice. That's a great choice.
Yeah.
Then you have that kind of final moment with Venetia, where she's now in their shared bathroom, where you saw Felix jerking off multiple times, and the tub sucking scene, and she's in there taking a bath herself, and also the scene where you saw post
Vampire lips.
Yep.
Yeah. And she finally is catching on to his game, and she's calling him out. She called him a moth. I love that. I love everything she says.
Yeah.
It's so
Scathing.
yeah. Oh, my dad called you Spider-Man because you're just like
You're
weaving
spinning your webs.
your spidery, olivery web. And she's like, no, you're a moth because you're just like tapping at the glass, attracted to shiny, bright things, and you're just nothing. You're nothing, which is probably the worst thing he ever would want to hear. Like, that's the opposite of anything he wants to be, because he wants to be them.
Yep. Yeah.
But he gets her back, though, almost immediately.
Gets
in the
her
same
back?
scene. Yeah. He's evil as fuck. He's horrible.
She said, you just ate him up, like talking about Felix, you just ate him up and you licked the plate. And I'm like, yes. You did.
Yeah.
He's a... And then he fucking destroyed her.
Well, yeah, but that's the point where you finally, like, it all comes together, where I think this is kind of when he starts, like, laying out his plan. Like, all right, she said this horrible shit to me. She put her fingers in my mouth. I put the razor blades by the tub. She's dead. Another funeral. And then it just kind of, like, the whole plan gets laid out. The villain's evil plan.
Yeah.
You kind of see him becoming more intertwined with the family because he gets to come to the rock throwing in the river with her death, but he didn't get to go to Felix's.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Because Duncan's holding the umbrellas like this. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, you're
gosh.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't
I
get to
didn't
come
notice
to.
that.
He just watched from afar for Felix's rock throwing, and then hers, he gets to be there. So it's like, oh, you really are getting in there.
And it almost seems like immediately after that is when Richard E. Grant's like, all right,
How much to leave?
you gotta go.
You gotta
Because
go, kid.
he already knew something was up with Oliver. He was the one calling him a spider, right?
That's
So
true.
mom,
It was the
mom.
Yeah.
Footman calling him a spider.
Oh,
No, he
was
said.
it?
I thought he said dad. I thought she
Oh,
goes, you know
I
what
thought she
dad
said
calls
yeah.
you.
So
Was
he
it
done-
time stamped? Like the year came on the screen, or
The
was
year
it like
was
on
in
a
the
newspaper?
in the newspaper when you saw that Papa died.
And give it to me again. What year was it?
2022.
Wow. So like
Yeah.
basically current day,
Yeah.
almost. I didn't realize that. I'm bad at sometimes noticing like.
So he's
little-
like, our age now.
wow. So he really waited.
He just had like a Google alert set up.
And that's why
yeah.
she said.
Yeah.
She said, "I'm
He probably did.
surprised he waited that long." Me too.
Well, he
now
knew
that I
exactly.
understand, yeah.
He knew exactly where to be. He was
Yeah.
probably following where she
sure.
was as well.
Exactly. That's why
Yeah.
he knew she had just bought a flat around the corner. He's
Yep.
just going to hang out in some kind of like coffee shop or something. till he saw
Long
her.
game.
Long game.
Worked.
He had enough money, I'm sure.
Yeah. And again, he was at Oxford. I'm sure
Yeah.
he finished it, and whatever money he got from them, I'd be surprised if he didn't like finish his degree and have like a reasonable job that whole time too.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, she looks so great.
Yeah, that
I
is-
would have courted her as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say she looks no different 15 years later, but that's kind of true. I think about her like 25 years later and she kind of looks the same.
The only
She's
thing
not
that's
aging.
different about him is that he was wearing a tighter
Yeah,
shirt.
he's showing off his.
Because he already had a body. The body's the same.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
still had a
He's
great
now-
body the whole
But now
time.
The
he's-
face is always a little too old to be a
Oh, yeah.
schoolboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime they did close-ups on any of their faces, I was like, oh,
You're older.
you're much older than you're playing, but I love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
You're all hot, but you are older than what,
You are
what
not
they're trying
20.
to say.
Oh,
Or
I mean,
19.
Oh, Lordy's got to be kind of close to that age.
I think he's pretty young.
Yeah, I think he is.
He's like in his mid-20s, I think.
Okay, yeah. He's got to be like.
Barry's
got to be 30.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure, but I think so.
He had a baby. He had a baby in those videos. He's got babies at home.
Yeah.
Back
Lovely.
again.
That's
So,
right.
you know.
We're basically at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ending, or at least like the last kind of third of the movie, kind of, I think it goes at a bit of a breakneck pace. Because we do jump forward, obviously, quite a few years, and then he's there, he meets her, and then they're in a relationship together, effectively.
Yeah,
She's-
we don't
I
really
wish
see
I
it.
would have seen more of
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
come on. Give me at least a little
it's like-
smooch.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, you
right.
say it the last third. It's like
Yes.
It's the last
almost,
like 10th.
Yeah,
it's like the very end.
Yeah, it's like a denouement almost. Like it's like a weird like the peaks and then it just immediately starts. Like they wrap up the like movie peaking and wrapping up.
Yeah, because my main thing was, to me, it felt like the film almost felt like it was trying to end like 2 or 3 different times. So like him at the grave is like one, him lying on top of her after he's ripped out her fucking ventilator tube from her throat.
What did you call that, Renee?
Oh, he extubated her?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're saying it's like a Return of the King situation.
Kinda.
Yeah, that's what you're describing.
Kinda.
I did not get that
A more
vibe from
condensed
it,
Return of the
but-
King. No, I didn't. I didn't feel that way either. But I could. I mean,
the issues that they have with Return of the King, though, is there's too many fade to blacks. If they just cut, then it would have been fine.
Do
But it's
not
too many
do
fade
not
to blacks.
criticize.
Yeah, you're not in a safe
Return of
space
the
for this,
King.
bud.
Don't do it.
Not in a safe space.
It's
for this.
perfect.
They should have had a word with their editor.
Gandalf. Frodo.
And he doesn't say Legolas's name either.
Yes,
No.
yes, I know.
It's like
He just gives him a cute look.
Gimli. Fucking
We're on track
movie.
to watch that like next week.
We are.
Now we
yeah.
really got to
We're
talk
on Two
about
Towers
the
right now.
most special
Yeah.
part of the movie.
Yes. Thank you, Renee. See, Renee should be the host of this podcast. I need to step away because she keeps us on track because we need to talk about the dick scene,
Yeah.
which is the end of the movie. This, I don't have a timestamp just yet because I got too excited and I forgot to time my phone. And the first time we saw the film, when Renee and Ty and I went, the film stopped like in the middle of this one dinner scene for 20 minutes and the whole cinema shut down. And no one knew how to start the movie. And then it eventually started again. This time it was smooth sailing. But it's about 2 hours, something around there. It's the end of the movie. Who cares? I'll get it eventually.
It's the end.
It's like 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Like I said earlier, the reverse of when Oliver first arrives at Saltburn. So when he walks through and gets introduced, this is all the way backwards, right to the front. And, gosh, I mean, we can all just jump in. I think
He's dancing.
he's dancing. That song, who's the singer?
Sophie Ellis Baxter.
And it's Murder on the Dance Floor.
Yep.
Is playing, and you hear it really
It's
quiet.
it's her biggest song.
It's very good.
It's a great song. I'd never
Yeah.
heard it. See, that's another testament to how you were saying it's a mostly like English kind of singers and stuff. I had never heard that song before, but you'd heard it, Ryan?
Oh, I've heard it thousands
okay.
of times. Yeah, just it's been on the radio and stuff. So
I'd never heard it, and I love it.
Yes.
So now it's not old to me.
Yeah.
So you're gonna hear it.
Yeah,
more often.
I think we're
Ooh. It's
on my
gonna,
list.
gonna hear this whole soundtrack at my house often.
Yeah, I've already listened to it a couple of times.
all right.
But yeah, you kind of hear the song quietly as the camera kind of moves from room to room, and then you finally get back to Oliver, who is kind of in shadow at first, but then he moves out, and that boy is nude, head to toe,
Yeah.
and you get the most fun and most horrible, like just knowing everything that's led up to this moment, dance sequence. It's wonderful.
He's a great dancer. Like,
When we saw that the first time, I like teared up because it was so great. Like it was
Yeah.
so fun to me. Like I was like, I love this so much. Like it was so. It's not pure, but it's just like a. Yeah, it's very not pure. But
joyful.
Yes.
It's also like possessive because the way he's like touching all the door frames.
Oh, yeah.
And, like just like touching things. Like it's very, very joyful. Lots of spins, but he really just like nails all the points of the dancing too.
lots
Like,
of slides,
it's like a
big
ballerina.
arms, and like
Yeah.
lots of hips, big hips.
Some run dancing too, which I love. Like when you
Oh, yeah.
run and then you like do a thing.
A little spin,
Yeah.
you run, spin, and then do a line of cocaine.
Oh, yeah, he does a little bit of
bump in the
cocaine.
middle. Yeah, that's right.
Dance break for the cocaine.
God, I thought this was a dick podcast. This is a dance podcast.
That's right.
Aye.
But it's
Just call me
wagging
Bob
back
Fosse.
and forth. You get to see it multiple times.
He rests on his
Yeah.
back foot. The pirouette comes here, and then
The dick slides
the
here.
dick slides there, slaps against his thigh here.
That's right.
Pirouette out.
It's definitely slapping. There's a lot of slappage
Yes.
in there.
I think there was a lot more spinning originally in the choreography, and I think they being the filmmakers were worried about
Too much.
the Motion Picture Association of America, which are the devils. I hate them so much. So they were worried about the spins, I think.
But he still does spin.
He does some spins, yeah. But I think there was a lot more spinning involved.
Okay.
Why? Because it goes
I thought they
like
were worried
more
about
up.
I think it's just there's a lot more movement, a lot more penis movement when you spin.
Thought they'd be worried about like every time he spun, his dick would like swing out and knock something expensive off the wall.
That's right. Good for him, right?
Yeah.
We can talk about this forever. I don't care if we add another hour to this, but I have a lot of things that Emerald said, and I have some things that Barry said. So Emerald said the movie always ended with Oliver walking naked through the house, which I think you brought up earlier, Ty. She said it's an act of desecration. It's also an act of territory, taking on ownership, but it's solitary, because he's alone. It wouldn't be the same if he's just walking through the house in his pajamas, like they originally had intended. It's that he's walking through his house. It's his fucking house, and he can do whatever he wants with it. And Barry Keoghan said, without sounding cocky, it wasn't the nudity. That was fine for me. It was the dancing. I don't really dance. I don't know how to move my hips in certain ways, and your body has to go in certain directions and stuff like that. The dancing scared me, so once I was comfy with the dance, the rest was easy. And he said also, I'd already fucked a grave. So I'd already done all that thing in the bathtub. I'd already broken a lot of taboos. I'm walking around in the nude. That was the most relatable thing that there was. Not that I relate to any of the other stuff. And he's like, dancing around in the nude, I mean, we all do it, don't we? We do it at home. We do it in the shower. We all act silly when we're on our own. We sing out loud. We dance. So I could relate with that. And the cinematographer, Linus Sandgren, says that they brought in the sense of voyeurism that defines the movie, and it was less about seeing Barry's reactions to the things. It was more us gently observing our king of the castle in the best day of his life.
I can't believe he's not a dancer.
I know.
I was like, that man is professionally trained.
If he went through acting school, he would have done some dancing at acting school. Whether or not he enjoys it, I think is kind of more the thing here.
No, he's smooth. He's great. He's got the moves.
He was fine. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's just being modest.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, I don't know if I can do this. He's like perfect at it. It's like, oh, thanks, Barry.
I don't really dance naked.
I don't really dance naked or otherwise.
I do.
I just stand there naked.
I dance a lot.
Yeah, I'll dance, but I need a little booby support. Like, I just don't. I can't believe if you dance naked. I'm so impressed because
when I'm naked, I feel like Harvey Keitel in Bad Lieutenant. That's how I feel like when I'm naked,
just sobbing,
sobbing uncontrollably.
That's about right.
It's usually pretty awkward when we're both naked and I'm dancing around and he's just crying.
Well, I have been taking like a massive amount of crack.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Which is doing the opposite effect, so maybe we need to change your meds.
Yeah, potentially.
You know what I mean?
I'm not depressed anymore, but like these scabs are a nightmare.
I'm ready to rate this thing, by the way.
Ty's ready to go home.
I don't have anything else anyway, unless anyone wanted to say anything else about that penis, but...
I had a couple of lines that I liked in the movie. Well, the thing is, the penis scene is what it is. I think we've kind of explained
it's glorious.
I don't know, you guys. This penis scene, for me, is the top penis scene, genuinely, out of most of the things that we've done on this podcast. That's a real dick. That's a real penis dancing around in that scene. That is wild, and it's a tracking shot. That is a long tracking shot through that house. It's amazing.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
We don't get that. We don't get the amount of time, lighting, dedication, and care, dance movements.
Clarity of frame.
Absolutely. Because you think at first, like we had the grave, and you go, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
No. And then he starts dancing, and you go, oh, I saw it for a second. No, absolutely not. Emerald took the time to have that man dance, and she framed it perfectly. He danced perfectly. You got the feeling of what they were trying to put across there. I don't know. I think she did a great job, and maybe this should be saved for my rating. But I think it's really really quite something. It's not something that you'd see. And we were in a theater full of people. Granted, it was small, but if it was a bigger theater, I think there would have been more people in it.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
every time we've
gone,
2
times we've seen it, the
it's
movie theater has been full. So I like the very end of the dance scene because just in case you were having such a nice time, you forgot
why he's done this.
He touches all their dead stones
that he stole from the river.
That he stole from the river because he's that fucked up.
Yeah.
What about that pig man? There's a pig man in the movie who's like turning the...
Just roasting
the
pig.
pig man's roasting the pig.
Yeah.
Oh, those
I think it was a
eyeballs.
rich person
Ooh,
thing.
that was him. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a factory out there that makes little Olivers as well.
In the doll factory.
Yeah. My favorite line in the whole movie that I wrote down was Barry Keoghan's voiceover, and he goes, "It's like I'm turning the handle to opening of this Jack in the Box towards the end of the world."
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He's fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's bonkers.
Yeah.
Wow.
One last bit of trivia that I think is kind of fun if you notice. But Emerald wanted Felix to have that eyebrow ring for the entire movie. And because he does, if you notice, he has it. And the studio fought hard against it. They're like, he's considered the most beautiful man in the world. You're not going to put an eyebrow ring on him like a trashy 2000s. She's like, no, it's totally in character. And the compromise was that he would take it out when he goes home.
Right.
So they threw in that line where he's like, yeah, I can't even wear my stud here. That was the compromise. Was he could have it while away at school, but when he went home, he had to take it out. Yeah, anyway, I thought that was interesting.
No, I like that.
That was purely motivated by like a compromise.
That totally made sense to me because I had plenty of friends with different like nose piercings, eyebrow rings and stuff, and their parents like just they had it whatever, and their parents couldn't stand the look of it, and they had to take it off when they got home.
And it's nice because they like a minute or two before that he says that whole like, oh, there's a razor. My mother hates the stubble and stuff. So like they lay out that like this is a house of beauty. There's nothing like
everyone has to look good.
Yes, good in a very
They were
classic
pretty
sense.
happy that he wasn't a minger, right?
Yeah. He was an ugly little dick.
Yeah.
Here
I
we
have
go.
ratings.
Ratings.
And he comes from such a nice home. Ty, you're going to go first.
Oh.
So remember, we do visibility and context. You can mix them together out of 5. And then, I don't know, you can just do the film right after if you want. We'll just make it easy.
Oh, this is real easy for me. Top marks across the board. I mean that. Everything.
Yeah.
Clarity, visibility, screen time. It's all great.
Yeah.
It's it's in context. Top marks. I can't think of a better dick in a film, honestly. And the movie's great. I've seen it twice in a week. I mean, yeah. Top
Despite
marks.
your wishes.
I mean, yeah. The second time, not that I didn't want to see it, I didn't necessarily want to see it today. I was going to see it again, but like, I was like, once I got there, I was like, yeah, I love this movie. What was I complaining about?
It is really fun.
Yeah, top marks across the board.
What about for the film?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, here we go.
So what is that as a number?
Out of 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a 5. Second viewing, it went like even more. It's I want to be
That's
too much
right.
hyperbole, but it's a modern masterpiece. It's running for my film of the year.
Oh my gosh.
Top 3 for sure.
I'm with you, man. Okay. But go ahead, Renee.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. I'll also go 5 for visibility and context.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All the things we talked about before. You could see it a lot, many times, clearly, well lit. It's joyful. It captures not the penis, but the scene captures like the feeling of the moment. And then I will give the film a 4.5. I can't really tell you. I loved it. I can't tell you why I take away a 0.5 point. I know a 5 when I see it. And for me, it was just like a 4.5.
It's almost there.
Yeah. It's way higher. I usually give almost everything a 3.
True.
So.
But I'm with you. And if I look at like my ratings history, it's usually like, like I liked it. It was fine.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, when I watched this, I'll go ahead and just go 5s for me for everything because I already just went into my rant about how I loved the end of this film and I loved the film in general. I had so much fun. Like I just had a smile on my face. Like it was fun seeing it theater. It was fun seeing it with other people. I had a really hard time seeing it without Ryan the first time because it's all I wanted to talk about. And luckily we got to do that together today. So that was great. And it genuinely is probably the best thing I watched this year other than that 5-hour RoboCop documentary that we watched, which was amazing.
Yeah.
You did nail it, though. That was the thing. After I saw it, I wanted to talk about it with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, the next day, I was just like, anybody see Saltburn? Does anybody see Saltburn? I need to talk about this with somebody else.
We went to that light show. There was a kid wearing antlers, and I was like, guys, they're doing a Saltburn. And it's like a child.
Doing a Saltburn.
I had so much fun. It's a really fun movie, but I
It is.
like that dark shit. I love that darkness. I love that it's like cheeky at times, and I like that all the characters, in a weird way, that you can sympathize with them, but none of them are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like you can see motivations for every single character, but you're not really rooting for them either. But you, in a way, it kind of pulls you back and forth between everyone. And I find that really hard to do and really interesting. Like, I loved everyone. Everyone is gorgeous. The setting is beautiful. Cinematography is great. The music is fun. And it's just horrible. And that's the kind of thing I look for in a movie, just some really dark, horrible stuff with a penis scene that I'm genuinely trying to think of its rival. You know, we have really great ones, like Shame always gets up there, but Shame is like kind of like a joke at this point if you're going to compare it to this one in terms of dick scenes. Sorry. I love Shame. I love Shame. I love Shame.
Dude, I love Shame. I stand by.
But-
Fassbender probably has the most beautiful dick in the world. It's gorgeous.
It's
a perfect specimen.
That. Yeah, he's great.
Can I talk about my rating?
Oh,
Yeah.
please do.
I feel like everyone's just...
I'm sorry.
You're just obsessed with just the I mean, I think the scene itself's really good, and I was very surprised by it, and I gave it 5 stars as well. I don't know what else I can kind of add to it that hasn't already been said already. I gave the film 4.5 because I don't think it's close to perfection, and I don't think a 5-star film is perfection, but it's as close as it gets. And this one's a 4.5, but I think the issue I had was that I didn't have that first viewing that you guys had, where you just sat down and you watched it for enjoyment. I was watching it for analyzing it. And I was like, I keep on missing things because I'm writing things in my notebook in the dark, you know. It's like, but no, I think it's very good. I can't pin down why I don't think it's as. I watched Bottoms this year. I gave Bottoms 5 stars. There's nothing really that wrong with that movie. Yeah.
Wow.
That film is
That really surprised me. I remember when you gave Bottoms 5, and I was like, yeah, I really like Bottoms. And you're like, I love Bottoms.
I loved it. Yes. Loved the fuck out of it.
You did love Bottoms.
Yeah.
That was really interesting.
I loved
Bottoms is your film of the year.
I loved how silly and gay it was. I
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah. That also had a weird tone though. But that was the tone in that movie is more of a. It's more of like one of those humps that like someone who's training in the army has to get over. But then once you get over it, it's like really pleasant. It's like very warming, the tone in that movie.
That movie's very dark as well.
And this one, yeah, I like it. I gave it 4.5. I shouldn't have to explain anything. But it's just not, I can't put my finger on why it's not more than that. But it might be just because I looked at it analytically as
Maybe
opposed to
with a pleasure viewing.
a pleasure viewing, yes.
Which we will have, because if you guys don't know, that this episode, if you're listening to it, is releasing on December 22nd, which is the day it releases on Amazon Prime for everyone to watch.
Maybe
streaming.
that's one thing I liked about this, is the fact that it's one of those movies that's not, it didn't come from A24 this time. It came from Amazon. So maybe
Did
there's
it
also
come?
that.
I don't think it came from Amazon.
Well, it came from MGM Studios, a wholly owned subsidiary of Amazon.
Which is like, which is obviously that's the blanket it's going to come under. You know, it's not going to be referred to as, oh my god, did you see that movie, that Saltburn Productions movie that came out? The Saltburn Committee.
They own MGM.
Yeah,
there's a couple things coming out under the MGM banner that are like, good.
Yeah,
they're putting profile stuff. Not straight to like Prime Video under the MGM banner.
I don't know. I'm having one of those A24 moments where I'm just I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. So, yeah. So I was happy that it wasn't that.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Not really. Anyway.
A23?
Yeah,
You remember that?
Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, I love Emerald. I want her to make a bajillion movies. This makes me want to go watch Killing Eve season 2, which you watched and you really liked.
I love Killing Eve.
Yeah, you were like already watching it. Like at some
Promising
point,
Young
but, like-
Woman is amazing.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Promising Young Woman,
And she won a
awesome.
fucking
Yeah, it's really
Oscar
good.
for
She
that,
did.
which
well deserved.
yeah, absolutely.
The movie's awesome.
You did read those jokes online. I wasn't going to bring it up, but she wants to do an erotic Jurassic Park. She wants to do like
way in.
yeah.
That sounds
Way
so
in.
like,
sexy.
I don't know what
Wow.
you mean, but yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Like I'll if I will hold her hand if she will guide me. Like we're also born in the same year, and I want her to be my friend. Me, her, and Phoebe Waller-Bridges, and we can all hang out.
And me, I
And
would
you
be
can,
there,
and you're
right?
here too. We're
Yeah.
also holding hands.
I mean,
We're
what?
stroking
No,
each other, a la Notes on a Scandal.
That's a journal scandal.
Are you? You better not kick me out because you found better friends.
No, we're all gonna be friends, and we're gonna stroke each other. And
I don't know. You lost me at like erotic Jurassic Park. Like, what's happening?
the first
in that
thing I
movie?
said.
Like, are people having sex with dinosaurs? Like,
I
what's
don't
going
know.
on?
Ask her. Just
Yeah.
send her a message and ask her. I don't know.
Got a chompy on the end of my dick.
Yeah, I just
Chomping
assumed
down.
that the sex was happening in the proximity of in the park. It's like, oh
Like
wow,
the danger is
Totally.
giving boners
Yep. Yeah,
to the
like-
humans.
Like they're hiding somewhere, and then they realize, oh, this might be our last chance to fulfill this like smoldering attraction we've had to each other.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I hope
It's
it's
like he
not like
gets her in- he gets-
interspecies.
He gets her
No,
into
no.
bed. He gets a woman into bed, and she does something really,
or they do like
smart.
a human dino hybrid
And
that's
he's
got
like-
like a big dick.
Well, I just want to see the dude in
That'd be
bed
horrible.
just go clever girl, you know.
Oh yes,
He was on the arc to get there. He knew where he was going.
Yeah,
I love
you
that.
kept on interrupting me as I was trying to get the crescendo. I was not going to allow that to not happen.
Or like they're having sex, and then the raptor opens the door and comes in
Yeah.
the room, and like another raptor comes. He's like, hold on, they're having sex in there. I opened the door because I'm a raptor, and he's like, we can do that, dude. You can totally open doors now. You try it. Look, watch him have sex.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, they're really having sex in there.
Yeah, and then they're like, "What did he say? Here, there's a raper at the door." Wait,
No, that's not what I said.
that's not what I said. I'm just a raptor. Like, oh, that's okay. He's like, go back to boning.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Anyway, yay for Saltburn.
his vision was based on
Yes.
movement.
They can see everything.
You can see everything.
I'm so close though. Don't tell me to stop. You have to stop, or we're gonna die.
Don't fuck. His vision is based on movement.
And he likes what he sees.
The T-Rex is drooling.
He's a voyeur.
Yeah, he's wearing sunglasses and like a fucking
A trench coat.
yeah,
Like a
trench
huge
coat.
Trench coat.
Yeah, like a fucking windbreaker.
Thank you guys for coming to our Christmas key party. We got to pick out our keys and see who's going home with who.
I hope I get Tighe.
I know. I hope I get Renee.
Same.
I think this will be easy.
Yeah.
We know what
Me
our
and
keys
Ryan will
look
be
like.
playing Sonic in the post glow for hours. While you
Fuck
guys are still
yeah,
going
that'd be
at it.
great.
You guys would have so
Yeah.
much fun.
They would.
So would we.
Who's the top and who's the bottom? Might as well figure this out now.
I think you guys
as long as
already
we can get
talked
to the
about
Sonic,
it.
it's okay.
Right, okay. Maybe
Yeah.
just skip the sex and just do the Sonic.
Yeah.
Right,
I
okay.
mean, you can do that. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be.
Oh, good. So there was no sex. I'm happy.
Whatever's
with that.
consensual and you guys agree upon, it's fine.
We seem to agree on Sonic.
I think Sonic's easy enough to do, right? I wish it was. I wish life was that easy.
Sonic? Sometimes Sonic is really difficult. When you get to the scenes like later on.
Sonic is wildly pleasant.
All right.
I'm going to start this off with thanking you guys for coming to our party. And it's the last episode of the year Christmas party. And I'm so glad it was Saltburn. I'm glad I convinced Ryan to do it.
I was gonna say we should be thanking the listeners out there who've gotten us into the position that we're in right now. So we're at now 60, almost 70 episodes now. So
That's right.
People continue to listen. So thank you for everything you've done for us in 2023,
This isn't Thanksgiving.
whoever you are.
They know who they are, and they can watch this movie on Prime, and that's really cool. And they can send us messages about future Christmas penis movies, because that is becoming a really shallow kind of pool to pull from. But anyway, I'm going to start off with saying, coming to you from the King's Arms, and maybe Renee has a couple.
Coming to you from the inside of Oliver's mom's throat.
Jesus. Jesus.
Coming to you live from Dead Rock Bridge.
God.
Coming to you live from the bathtub in between Felix and Oliver's room. I have to stop.
Coming to you from the Minotaur penis maze. I have been Laura.
I'm Ryan.
I was Tighe.
I'm Renee.
Happy holidays and whatever. Happy penis Christmas.
Have a cheeky holiday.
Cheeky holiday. And that's it.
Cool. Right, let's get these keys sorted out, guys. What are we doing?
I'm gonna play Sonic.
I've been waiting 2 hours for this.
But in a nice place in like a nice part of London.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure went back
Yeah.
to Oxford.
I'm
too.
sure he got.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Holy fuck.
Storm.
Yeah, that got me. That got me big time.